when I'm crowd surfing. Like the glasses come off, go into my glasses case, and then I'm crowd surfing. Gatekeepers? I think he was being funny. I mean, come on, let's be honest. If you, am I a pit warrior? Not so much anymore, and literally the reason for that is this. Like, if I didn't have an implant on the bottom of my arm, certainly, yeah. Well, it's not really an implant, it's on the outside, so. If I didn't have, like, medical devices attached to me, yes. I spent many years getting almost injured enough that I shouldn't go to work at shows, because, like, there is no better form of, like, stress relief than just going into a good pit at a metal show and hitting people for a solid 45 minutes. Because nobody actually gets hurt if it's a good pit. The problem is, like, once you've been in a couple bad pits, it's like, eh. Like, I've split open my eyebrow real bad hitting a metal bar at the edge of a pit once. I hyperextended my knee coming down on a barrier. I got crowd crushed at Papa Roach pretty fucking bad during Last Resort. Like, I involuntarily lifted off of the ground while the crowd compressed. That was fun, but hurt a lot. I got trampled at a creator show. I've slipped on God knows how many bodily fluids. Yeah, no, I sure. Craziest pit you've seen? I'm trying to like no. Craziest pit? If we're talking crazy, like people just being violent, the craziest pit I've seen is probably some random hardcore show. Like just those guys go, like when you start seeing people with like bicycle chains and shit, those guys go hard. I think the most fun I've had at a show in the last couple of years though is probably either King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard, but that wasn't a crazy pit at all. There was a pit, but it wasn't crazy. It was like, you know, it was children at that show. The most fun I've had at a show was probably Dope Throne. So, to give you an idea, there's a guy who I hope I see for years to come at shows, Zalvi, named Dean. Dean is a local Vancouver legend. Dean lives downtown in low-income housing. Dean is a native. And Dean is in his mid-70s. Dean has white hair down to his knees. And Dean uses a walker. Okay? And a cane. Dean will gut punch you so fucking hard, it does not matter how much, like, you go to the gym, how fit you are, he will knock you the fuck out. And then crowd surf. And he has no functional use of either of his arms because he's had multiple strokes. Dean knows my name. He calls me Greg. When Dean's had 2 beers, he calls me Craig. When Dean's had 3 beers, he calls me something else. And when I'm Gary, Dean, you've had too much. Are you doing good, man? Dean, are you okay? You good? Yeah? Okay. No, I'm not named Larry. Stop. Come on, Dean. We need a dwarf named Dean. Dean is like kind of quietly my hero, but I don't want to be like Dean when I grow up. Sounds like your senpai, Dean, when you were in karate. He used to work at the guitar shop. I think he's retired these days. Yeah, no, I like people who go to hardcore shows, but when I go to hardcore shows, I stand pretty safely back. These days, I wouldn't describe myself as a pit warrior. However, okay, sorry. One more video. This is on my Google Drive, so it won't take me too long to find. But I wouldn't describe myself as a pit warrior. I would describe myself as a pit defender, if I can make that distinction. Because, like, a pit warrior is somebody who's just, like, in the middle of the pit hitting people, right? I am the person who stands at the edge of the pit and knocks people back into the pit, if that makes any sense. That's primarily the kind of person that I am these days. Just because, like, I'm not a... I'm breakable these days. I used to be 24. I'm not anymore. Just looking to see if I can find this show. I have a really good video of a pit from a show from last year. It's just a matter of, can I find it? Actually, maybe it was 2023. You know, the only true warrior I've seen at a show, because you're saying warrior blind dogma, the only true warrior I've seen at a show was a guy at Amon Amarth with a full suit of armor. Oh, actually, this isn't really metal, but you guys know Finger 11? You guys want to see Finger 11 described in one photo? Everybody knows Finger 11. They wrote Paralyzer, because I've been paralyzed, I've been struck by you. This guy and this guy, that's Finger 11. He was about, like, 6 alcohol, like, vodka seltzers in at this point. That was a stupidly dumb show, but that was worth the $60. Third Eye Blind headlined. That was fun. Let me see if I can find this actual video. I'm having trouble finding it, so if I can't find it, then I can't find it. If I can't find it, I can't find it. Oop. I found it. Let me just mute this. This was a good pit. And if you can see this, let's wait until it resets. That was a glass barrier, if you could call it that. That was glass. Me and my friend Kevin literally sat there blocking people from hitting that for about 2.5 hours. And people realized what we were doing after a bit, after one guy hit like his arm real bad on it. And people started bringing us free beer. It was great. Hold on, let me just grab the other video without just showing my Google Drive. This is from that perspective. There's like, yeah, that was a fun pit. That was a fun pit. Also, unrelated to anything, well, related to that video, go listen to Worm Witch. They're very good. That looks so bouncy. It was kind of like a grown man bouncy castle powered by grown men. Is what I would describe it as. Also, you're not wrong. Third Eye Blind with Finger 11 does in fact sound like a CUD mutation. It kind of does, yeah. All right, so we're being invaded by zombies, so let's just ignore that for a second. Let's just ignore that for a second. Twitch chat. We're streaming on two platforms. We're here on Twitch, but we're also on YouTube. If you want quick responses, Twitch is the best place to be. If you are more into lurking, YouTube is also a place you can view. If you would like to help with the YouTube stream at absolutely no cost to you, you can do that by clicking the link that I'm about to put into chat once it loads. And you can leave a like on the YouTube stream. Leaving likes on the YouTube stream tells people to watch the YouTube stream. And to the person saying, where's the Dwarf Fortress gameplay? This is why you guys don't get nice things. This is why you can't have nice things. And why I don't stream the first whole hour of my streams on YouTube. All right. So currently, I've got 2 dwarves I need to name. We got a lot of upset dwarves, and the dead walk we need to hide while we still can. Which probably means I got a lot of doors I need to lock. Which that's locked. Now this is 2. Over here, that's locked. That's locked. That doesn't need to be locked, but probably should be. Right, yeah, I lost most of my military again. So this fortress has seen better days. It's also seen worse days. So that's good. I should also note that we have a proper door thing now, which is this. That's my proper door. So let's go into the fortress through the front door, shall we? I mean, standing near the speaker just means you like a back massage. I wouldn't say it's got anything to do with brain chemistry. I like a back massage sometimes. Although, just wear earplugs if you're going to stand by the speaker. This is the front door. It goes through an aquifer. We need to clean that up today. It's a little drippy. It then goes down through here. And then goes north. And happy to help with the guides, YouTube chat. And then it goes all the way up here, all the way through the blood-splattered hallway, then up to here. And then this is my railgun. This is what we're going to be shooting those zombies with, hopefully. The railgun go all the way up to here and is loaded with minecarts, which we need to start filling up with other things. The railgun fires very fast minecarts, and it's quite effective. This is the way to stop things from coming into the fortress through there. And this right here is our kitchen, and this is the actual entrance into the fort. This is where my military trains, and this is where Eurist is sitting injured. I need to close this drawbridge, and we need to lock everybody inside. We're close to 3 necromancer towers, and from what I can tell, they're all attacking us. And that is pretty bad. Your ears are as good as your eyes. I'm so sorry. I wouldn't wish that curse on anybody. Over here is my very large tavern, which I should probably build a second floor to, because I think that'd be cool looking. Or maybe put like some sort of noble quarters up there or something. We do have 2 rocks. No, it's not a breeding pair. They're father-son. So I'm very excited about this, hoping that we'll get another rock at some point. An additional rock. We also, over here and down here, have a breeding pair of rhinos and BB Rhino. I think they take 10 years to get full grown, right? Or do they take less than 10 years? If they take less than 10 years, that'd be great. But we do have several rhinos, and I think they are adorbs. Over here we have our like original kitchen, and then this is the big ol' expanded kitchen. Over here we got bedrooms of various shapes and sizes, and also one that isn't set up, so I should probably finish that. Although the nice thing about a bunch of people dying is I need to make less bedrooms now. Let's give Bone Doll a bedroom. We have our library. We have farming, more housing over here. We've got our tiny little forge down here. We got various temples and things. This was supposed to be a guild, but as you can see from the cobweb in the corner, it's been a while since I've worked on it. Down here we got body disposal, which is pretty efficient. I should probably crush all these. And down here are the tombs. As you can see, we've got a couple of them. Some of them need to have actual coffins put in them, but we've got quite a few tombs. It's been a busy time since originally making the tombs. Now, The living dwarves in the fortress are Havoc, Bert, Red Fogel, Darksan, and Devilish Potato, as well as Ilmirin and Andre, and Stormwolf and Ender Bunny, as well as Bilug and Arende. And we got Origin 64, as well as Deep Space, and Iral. And we also have Farmer Fem. We have probably somebody that I missed. Doesn't look like it. We got Kartok, we got Sideburns, we've got Raiklu, we've got Theo S, we've got probably Jody, we've got Bone Doll Snail SD, we've got Swagginskill, we've got Croc, Freeways, Boom Boom, Midnight the Second, Brugan, as well as Ray Lee, and Corpseman, Demonster, and we've got Neezer, who's very upset, and Sharpshooter, who's a child who fired a minecart that killed a forgotten beast. Now, I should note, if you saw your dwarf die and you go, wait a second, I thought I died. The game did crash. We had a crash yesterday, so some people got unalived and then relived. Something like that. I'm gonna set everybody to go into the fortress real quick. And I'm going to jump up to the surface, and I'm going to go over to here. And we're going to seal these... That's a lot of rhinos. We're going to seal these zombies out. Oh, never mind. I can't, because I don't actually have that set up yet. Well, I wanted to seal the zombies out, but I can't really. So I guess we're going to seal them under. A little bit awkward there, but, you know, that's all I really got as an option. So I guess what I'll do is I will... go down into the railgun room. Go over to this. Give this a tug. Because I need to rebuild my military before I can feasibly fight them. Sam, it's good to see you. I hope you're doing well. So the dwarves that I need to name are as follows. Yes. Ice Blue, which is going to be blue ice. And let's see. What did they say for dwarf type? They want a woodworker, and I'm presuming a woodworker with a beard. I don't have any male woodworkers that aren't named. If I just type in wood, do I have any wood crafters? Probably not. I do! We'll go with that. Blue Ice is obsessed with order and structure in his own life, with everything kept in its proper place. Dislikes receiving advice, preferring to keep his own counsel. He is grounded in reality and forms only fleeting and rare emotional bonds with others. He is a friendly individual and doesn't handle stress well. He doesn't often experience strong cravings or urges and tends to not be swayed by emotional appeals. He doesn't mind a little tumult and discord in day-to-day living. And he doesn't handle stress well. He tends to be swayed by the emotions of others. I can't read this morning. He tends to not be swayed by emotional appeals, and he doesn't mind a little tumult and discord in day-to-day living. He's quite ambitious, and he tends to think before acting. He is assertive, and he could be considered rude. He is stubborn, and he has a greedy streak. He generally acts impartially, is rarely moved to mercy, and thinks he is fairly important in the grand scheme of things. He has a habit of stretching his body during pauses in conversation and chews his lips when he gets excited. He laughs very loudly whenever he's surprised, and whenever he's nervous, he clicks his tongue. He needs alcohol to get through the working day and doesn't really care about anything anymore. Believes that those who sacrifice for others should be deeply respected, sees power over others as something to strive for, and respects the law. He likes bismuth and turquoise and rami fabric, as well as hemp paper, crowns, and stoats for their ability to take down large prey, and the sight of the meandering lyrics and when possible prefers to consume flies, ratweed, and cassava beer. So when it says fly, it means the bug. He likes sky raisins, guys. Live. And he has a pet rabbit who is still alive by some frickin' miracle. And, congrats. The next one is Leo R. Leo R, did you redeem a Dwarf? Just a dwarf with a beard named after you. Okay. We'll go happiest unnamed bearded Durfus. Hey, YouTube Chattis. First person to put 3 pickaxe emotes into the chat gets a dwarf. Just saying. Leo wants to be with family and pray to Burr. Has friends, no family. Well, that one part is good. Likes to present himself boldly, even if it would offend the average sense of modesty. Tries to do things correctly each time. Finds helping others to be emotionally rewarding. Is slow to anger and is quick to form negative views about things. He is stubborn, though he is conflicted by this part of himself. He is grateful when others help him out, and he tries to return favors. He can easily fall in love or develop positive feelings. And when working on projects, he doesn't often experience strong cravings or urges. He is somewhat fearful in the face of imminent danger, and he generally is quite confident in his abilities when undertaking specific ventures. He is a friendly individual, and he can handle stress. He generally acts with a narrow focus on the current activity and exhales sharply when he gets angry and needs alcohol to get through the working day and doesn't really care about anything anymore. Welcome to the fort. So we do kind of have a problem right now. And that is a very simple little problem. And that is the fact that the zombies are going to come in and I don't really have a way of stopping them. So I guess probably the actual smart thing to do here would just be to wall this off. It's probably the actual smart thing to do. Because then I can work on my defenses functionally. And I'll be honest, right now we are not in the best place. Because we've had a lot of losses. The zombies keep attacking me right when migrants would arrive. And frankly, this fortress needs to stop losing dwarves and efficiently kill the enemy. So what's a way to efficiently kill the enemy when your enemy is zombies? The railgun's not going to kill them. There's too many of them. Also, these are undead humans, which means it's likely that they won't actually just directly attack me. They'll probably hang around the surface for a while. But I'm thinking we work on this front door weapon thing, rebuild the military, and see if within a year I can just pump some lava up. Actually, okay. Let's see how big this army is first. And if there's any intelligent undead. Oh, hey, he came back! So this is the Singed Filth of Quest Group. The Singed Filth killed a forgotten beast named Poboro. You know, Anon 4, I will give you this because you put three combs and 3 axes. I'll call those 3 pickaxes. But I meant like pickaxes, like what Eurist put in chat, but Eurist only put 1. So Anon 4, what kind of dwarf would you like? That's somebody in YouTube chat, by the way. Pretend they're not there. Pretend they're not there. Yeah, I mean, we're going to miss the migrant wave and the traders anyway. Like, they're not going to make it into the fortress in time. But it's cool that this guy came back. And I'm going to hope that we get a forgotten beast. That's my hope currently. Farmer, any. I'll give you the one who's reading a book about the human. Anon 4 dislikes obligations and will try to avoid being bound by them. Is conflicted by this for more than one reason. He is greatly pleased by his own looks and accomplishments and sometimes acts with little determination and confidence. He doesn't seek out excitement and occasionally overindulges, finds helping others emotionally rewarding, and is somewhat quarrelsome. He is bothered by this since he values friendship. He doesn't handle stress well, and he tends to not be swayed by emotional appeals. He doesn't have a great aesthetic sensitivity, and he's conflicted by this as he values artwork and its creation. He needs alcohol to get through the working day and likes working outdoors and only grumbles mildly at bad weather and doesn't really care about anything anymore. Just making sure that all my roles are still filled, although I need a new militia commander. He dreams of mastering a skill and personally believes that peace is always preferable to war, has a deep dislike of the natural world, and finds blind honesty foolish and doesn't see cooperation as valuable. Likes microcline, Billin, and purple spinel, as well as the color lime, high boots, and weapon racks, and alpacas for their resemblance to a miniature llama. He likes iguanas for their dewlaps, lettuces for their taste, and the word of the fancy meditation. And the sound of the laces of silk, and when possible prefers to consume, parry, and can't stand flies. It's okay, that other dwarf will eat them all. You have one friend who's Salon, who's also a farmer. Well, thanks, Five Eyes. Thanks for tuning in and watching. Appreciate you, mate. It is kind of a lot. Yeah, I agree with that on the game. So now we just need to get everybody into the burrow. What do you have to go do? Construct a building? Oh, I see. So the dwarves are going to go wall in the fortress. So we're going to follow this dwarf. Can I corral what? The zombies? Probably, but I don't really want to do that because it wouldn't be an efficient defense. And then I'd have zombies in my fortress, which, I don't know. That's not that interesting to me. But sure, yeah, we could wall them in and use them as defense. The problem is the main thing we're getting attacked by is more zombies, and the zombies are all kind of part of the same faction. So it's not really a useful defense when the thing that's attacking you won't fight its own people. So essentially, I would just be like sticking myself between a rock and a hard place in a lot of ways, if that makes any sense. I guess it just wouldn't be as productive in this instance. If we were also getting attacked by humans and goblins and dwarves pretty frequently, or dwarves pretty frequently, or elves, then sure, that would make a bit more sense. But because most of the attacks are coming from the zombies, it's not that practical, really. But Chad, have you been playing Dwarf Fort? What have you been up to recently? How's your day been? Or if you haven't been playing Dwarf Fort, what have you been playing? True question right now is why they no bring item. Doesn't really matter what we use. Just kind of want to bring blocks. There we go. Vintage Story, Slay the Spire, Everspace 2. I know somebody who worked on Everspace 2. Minecraft Pixelmon. Speaking of not Pixelmon or Minecraft. Sort of. Did you guys see that they're making Pokemon Lego kits? And me and my dumb ass was like, saw a post yesterday saying Pokemon Lego. And I was like, what? I guess, yeah, that makes sense. They've made many Pokemon games with different IP. And then I cleaned my eyes a little bit and was like, oh, no. Okay, they're just Lego kits. Warhammer Fantasy Lizardman mod, and I've been trying to incorporate caverns as bedroom districts. I really like using caverns as bedroom districts. Just building in caverns is fun, generally. Let's follow this dwarf who's constructing this. Get in there, Red Fogel. So now they need one last one who's constructing a building. It's boom, boom. There you go. Probably not that much money, because I don't feel like Mega Bloks has much money. Also, is it really stealing if you paid for it? Catching loads of jabbers and voracious cave crawlers from cave dweller raids. Probably going to train some. Well, there you go. That sounds like fun. With a little bit of luck, that'll solve our siege problem. Although it might just like get sniped with a single arrow and die. The Forgotten Beast, Vulo Isalu Euthemi has come. A giant blob composed of flame. It has a long straight tail and a bloated body. Well, hold on. Just let me pull this lever and close this door real quick. And it burning. Vulo Shaftwebs the Poisoned. It should be called, like, torch webs. Well, it's been busy. It probably just, like, causes underground forest fires and then just, like, takes credit for the kills that its burning did. I thought the frame rate was bad again, but then realized, no, it's slow. I haven't seen a Jabberer in a minute, Adra, but that's because I haven't done much building in the lower cavern layers. I think the next fort I do might just be a deep fort. Maybe go in with another theme, like, I've had a lot of people asking me to make a fort around catching forgotten beasts and weaponizing them. I think the next fort I do might be a deep fort, where I just, like, dig all the way down to the lava sea day one, and then construct in the lava sea, basically. Where it's, like, the entire fortress needs to be below the lowermost cavern layer. I might do that next. Because that's always a fun build style, and it's been a while. No, it's not going to be too bad for the frame rate unless one of my dwarves is still in the caverns. It's also not that big of a siege, so... Unless it sets the surface on fire and everything starts caving in again, that'll hurt the frame rate. Does anybody feel like the adventure mode music plays too often in Fortress mode now? Like, I feel like I don't ever hear the Forgotten Beast song anymore. I just hear Pony Rider, which I don't mind. I mean, I like Pony Rider, but... Yeah, I'm not too worried about the frame rate. It is going exactly where I want it to go, though. And it's also going to evaporate all of the water in here, which is kind of nifty. It begins. Although if it encounters the zombies in this, the zombies will probably win because all of its threat is nullified by the water. An ad is about to play, chat, so I will pause the game when the ads run. Just a heads up. This is a very, very effective this is more of a mobile furnace than a mobile blow dryer. You bought a couple mugs? Hell yeah, dude. A lot of people have been buying mugs. I got a congratulations emailed to me from my merch store, so I guess that means I must be selling a lot of mugs. So, thanks to everybody who's been buying mugs. That has a shout. Is that the Sisters of War one? I'm trying to think which one has lyrics. Sisters of War, I think, has lyrics. But yeah, I'm just ecstatic with how well the Gremlin video's been doing. Does Steam give a good thought like Mist? No. And also, it doesn't cause burning. Steam just kind of exists, and Gabe Newell makes money from it. It would be cool if, like, Steam produced enough heat to cause burns, even, like, mild ones, but it just kind of doesn't. You would love to see Steam Power in DF? That wouldn't be out of the realm of possibility, I don't think. Although that's not super high on my list, because that's just another way of doing things that already exist. More or less. I think it's because there isn't really... There would need to be a way of producing steam in the game without using, like, severe amounts of shenanigans. Because right now it just requires kind of some crazy shenanigans. Where are the zombies? Ah. So... they're all just like... it's getting hot in here. So for those of you wondering, actually it's mostly me wondering, I don't know about you. This is what this looks like right now. So these tiny little blinking guys, these are the zombies. And then that's the fire. I kind of love the way fire looks in ASCII. Same with the smoke. To me, it looks a lot more intimidating, I guess. Not that this doesn't look intimidating, but there's a certain charm to the ASCII look. The capital? Ah, right. Yeah, no, the capital does have a shout in it. Smokey the Bear is pissed right now. Yerp. Yes, he is. And unlike last time, this is actually going to piss off the elves this time around. Well, actually, no, not really. Because unless it physically destroys trees, which is pretty unlikely. This will probably clear the zombies, right? So I'm going to do an extinguish all with DF hack once the fires are burnt out, just to stop this from happening. It's not the fires causing frame rate problems, it's this. This is what's causing frame rate problems. As somebody who's lived in the greater Vancouver area most of his life, first time, Vikingo? Like, we've like, seasonal forest fires have been a seasonal thing here for like the last 10 years. It's a nice surface cleanup sesh. The zombie's just gonna walk into the flames. Well, they're trying to walk around it. Are you gonna catch fire, Mr. Zombie? I shouldn't make fun of the LA wildfires. Yeah, they're horrible. Just kind of gave me flashbacks to Lytton. Mr. Quest Group is all the way down here. Yeah, no, I'm aware there are places in the world that get forest fires that aren't just Canada. Uh-oh, someone's knocking on my door. Hold up. Right, I'm muted. I just had a record arrive from Canada Post that I think I backed on Kickstarter a year plus ago. Also, I love the implication of that. Orc with Bow, that California is a country. So that's kind of how it reads. Well, good news is this will probably sort out the fire problem. Or the zombie problem, rather. Zombies don't move that quick, and fire can move pretty quick. Where is that beastie, though? He's shooting fireball at something. Oh, I see. It's got this this here zombie. Melting, I guess? Is he on fire? I can't tell. Oh no, he's blocking it. But something of his is on fire. Just not sure what. Because he's definitely on fire. But he's blocking most of the flames. But the smoke is probably making it impossible for him to actually hit anything. So this is a Forgotten Beast that's a blob composed of flame, Brewhog. And there are zombies on the surface. So zombies am fighting with Forgotten Beast, and Forgotten Beast is a ball of flame that is a ball of flame that shoots flame because it is ball of flame. And the zombies don't really care about fire unless they're burning, and this one seems to be just blocking it pretty effectively. He also doesn't care if he bleeds. And the kind of funny thing is, it's going to make all of his fat go away, which is actually going to make them better at dodging. So, that's what you walked into. Ah, yeah, it's just normal dwarf fort stuff. But hopefully that got both of you caught up there. Yeah, see, also he's, like, learning how to fight better. I guess setting intelligent undead on fire and making them fight a flaming forgotten beast is a good way to train them? Devil Dawn, thanks for the 5-pack. Appreciate you. You were getting terrifyingly close to 1,000 gifts. Thank you so much, dude. Question is, are you actually going to destroy this? So all of his clothes have burned off of his body. All of his clothes. Hold on. What did that amulet say? Troll of evil. It's a troll of evil bone amulet. Okay, then. So all of his clothes have burned off. Good Lord Almighty. Shoutouts to the Troll of Evil Bone, I guess. I do really hope that this burning ends the siege, though. That would be very handy if it did. But it doesn't really seem like it is. Hey, chat, I'm just going to do this for all of our sanity. Okay. It'll probably start up again, but this will speed up the frame rate for a good chunk of time. Also give this zombie a very unfair advantage, because he's no longer burning, but it will start up again momentarily. Because their ability to dodge is based on their weight. So the lighter they are, the more effective they are at dodging. He's just blocking all of this. So if they have no fat and they're very slim, they're more effective at dodging. Here's the viewers that come in when you join the front page. Hey, I willingly join the front page. I'd say more from like YouTube recommendations. There was only that, well, I guess, yeah, there was that very brief moment where those people are just like, oh, he mad. It's like, you come from a different part of Twitch than I'm used to, eh? But seriously, Devil Dawn, thanks so much for helping keep the channel funded. No fat is more... Yeah, fat burns easier than other bodily fluids, so it begins again. So Beast is now fighting with 2 of them. You still have clothing on, which means you could probably catch fire? Wait. I was gonna say, did you kill him? Nope. No, you did not. Have any zombies died? I don't think so. Doesn't look like it, no. None of the intelligent ones have, and he hasn't gotten into any melees with any of the unintelligent ones. So, I'm not super hopeful on this. This is a Dark Souls fight? Oh no, actually you're not wrong. It kind of is, isn't it? It kind of is a Dark Souls fight. Although now it's a co-op Dark Souls fight. And now we have some other zombies coming in which are not intelligent. So some unintelligent random summons, I guess? I don't know. Are there summonable humanoid dudes that are dumb in Dark Souls? There probably is. I'm not a Dark Souls person. I don't know. Not really my shtick. These guys can't learn skills and are less effective. So we'll see if he can kill them. The intelligent ones will run away eventually. They don't seem to have any, like, ranged guys, which would insta-give this thing. Spirit summons an Elden Ring. There you go. Okay, well, not Dark Souls, but sure. Close enough. Are you getting hits in? It's biting. Hold on. The zombie bites the Forgotten Beast in the tail, breaking away a piece of it. You just bit it. You bit it. You bit it. That's something. Uh-oh. He lost a tail. And fell apart. This zombie killed it by bashing it in the upper body with an iron warhammer, which broke away the tissue. And is now named Bull Reigns. It won't. This is not a resurrecting biome. This is a Untamed Wilds biome. Oops, no. Let's just do Extinguish All, just for the frame rate. I mean, it might make them leave, but I'm kind of not super hopeful on that. How anticlimactic? I kind of expected it to end that way. I mean, it wasn't really capable of doing any damage to them. That's Zombie Bob Ross right there. I mean, I don't think it's anticlimactic. I think it's just clarifying just how big of a threat these zombies are, you know? I think it would be anticlimactic if the Forgotten Beast goes, "Brrr!" and then just instantly died. That would be anticlimactic to me. I think it's kind of the opposite because, you know, it's now up to us to, like, try and fend off these zombies, but all right, so let's see where I can dig through this. Where's this? Right here. That's pretty far away from the fort. I want something a little bit closer to the fort. So this is probably the layer with the caverns in it. So let's do a good old-fashioned exploratory dig. Hold on, just gotta pause first. And let's dig out this and then go there. And I'm going to just double check that this is all going to be in the right burrow. Dear game, why oh, does exterminate all not work? No, not exterminate, extinguish. There we go. Just go away, please. It's not really going to benefit anybody aside from be really annoying for the next hour. How's the fortress doing? Not great, because I don't quite have the ability to fend off the zombies right now. So we're going to go get some lava so I can more effectively fend off and deal with the zombies. Because, like, they attack me frequently enough that I haven't really consistently had time to train a military to fight them, if that makes any sense. So the fortress could certainly be doing better, is what I'd say. It could certainly be doing a lot better. We're currently sealed in underground, hiding from said zombies too. So there's that. We've also got some pretty consistent tantrums, which are kind of a problem, but there's, only so much I can really do about it. We only have 100 dwarves, King Knowles. I have so much food because I have a yarn industry, and it turns out when you have a yarn industry, you also end up with a lot of livestock, so it's mostly meat. I've actually been thinking about selling food, or just meat even, but literally can't because zombies keep showing up right when trading would happen. Fire came back. So, also this isn't few drinks. You only need about twice the drinks of your dwarven population. We do have way too much food though. Because the dwarves don't go through drinks as quickly as I think people seem to think. So yeah, I mean, it's not going terribly. I mean, we do have 100 dwarves, but the fortress is more than 10 years old. We should have a lot more than that. Okay, well, that's a bit suboptimal. Why don't we go down to here? All the way up to here. I'm glad you liked it, Mangus. I really like making those. Sorry, what is this? Oh, Forgotten Beast Blood. Lovely. The thing is, we're constantly making drinks, so no, we also have plenty of plants. I just have it capped. Can you have a bearded dwarf military if possible? Probably not. No, I actually do have some military dwarves. I don't know, are they just in a terrible way? Yeah, you can have this dwarf. My military just got devastated, not long ago in game, so. Donut, presents himself as extravagantly as possible, displaying a magnificent image. He cracks easily under pressure. He's greatly pleased by his own looks and accomplishments, and he enjoys being in crowds now and then, and takes offered help and gifts without feeling particularly grateful. He isn't given to flights of fancy, and he is quick to form negative views about things. Fire keeps reigniting itself. He thinks he's fairly important in the grand scheme of things. He is quite comfortable with others that have a different appearance or culture, and he needs alcohol to get through the working day, and he doesn't really care about anything anymore. He dreams of crafting a masterwork someday, and personally believes that the acquisition of power over others is the ideal goal in life, and worthy of the highest respect. He sees merrymaking as a waste and does not respect the law, values honesty and doesn't care about nature one way or another. He likes ash glaze and lay pewter, as well as red spinel and sandpear wood and mule hoof, amber and the color cream, the sound of the tulip of sparkling, and the sight of the silkiness of festivals, and when possible prefers to consume Hore marmot and Canwa beer and water buffalo's milk. And he absolutely hates brown recluse spiders. I think that's a question for Tarn and not a question for me. You're a jerk? Well, it takes one to know one, man. I have no idea, Mangus. I have zero clue. Also, magic isn't coming. Magic is here. It's going to take a while for, I think, the Dwarf Fortress community to learn this, but we are no longer in the era of Tarn go off into cave for 6 months and then big update come out. We're now in the era of Tarn piecemeal adds things as he makes them. There is magic in Dwarf Fortress. We have magical healing potions as well as magical items. So there is magic in Dwarf Fortress. Magic is here. I'm not going to speculate on what Tarn is going to add for magic, period, because it's not my place. Go ask Tarn. His head is somewhat short and his hair is dark brown and his skin is pink and he's got scars. He's got no friends, worships Burr, and is a member of the doctrine of clobbering. I mean, the doctrine of bronze and the head cave of clobbering and the tower of clobbering. Welcome to the fort. I wish that the religion was called the doctrine of clobbering. That would be great. So, yeah. I'm not the person to ask for speculation on mechanics. I wonder if Freaky Weather Rain can rain strange solution heals everyone on the map. I think you would need to mod that. But I know people have modded in custom Freaky Weather already, so it wouldn't super duper surprise me. I mean, technically already, I've done that in this fort. Like, we have magical weapons in this fort. One in specific, and also an amulet, I think. They don't use them, though. As in, they don't use the powers from them. This is actually the way I need to do this, isn't it? As the Bonk Bible. The Bible of Bonk, yes. They also probably play the video game Bonk. Which is not a game I've ever played, but I know of its existence. Well, they will be once the constructions are done. They aren't currently. So what was that? I saw a ore vein in here. Tetrahedrite? Give me a bunch of construct building going up. I'm just going to keep on typing in extinguish all. Still got a few more of these I got to get rid of. You know, I never noticed that there was a tiny little meal on top of this barrel before. But the more you notice, I guess, the longer you play, the more you notice. It's 3:30 a.m. right now. How's my day going? It is... are you up late or up early? My day's pretty good so far. No complaints. Woke up to some weird emails. Package just arrived in the mail with a record in it that I've been looking forward to, and I'm excited about that. Yeah, no complaints. How's your day been? Mercury? Just got a text. Here we go again. Dude, university should take priority over my stream in all situations. We also have a strange mood. It's Let's just make sure you've claimed what you need. Oh, probably not, actually, because it's a Boyer. I don't think I have a Boyer's shop right now. Does anybody else never build Boyer's shops because when they need crossbows, you just make them out of metal? Or is that just a me thing? So I find I, like, never actually use a Boyer's shop for anything ever. Should also make a blocks shop, or a block stockpile, actually. Maybe even down here. I don't know. You never make them outside of Strange Moods? I'm trying to think, like, what else could Boyer's shops make that could be unique to them that would give them a reason to exist? Guys, you guys want to see something game-changing? Check this out. For Windows, they're now one click. And it just uses that type of gem until you run out of that type of gem. I love it. It's so good. It is so good. It's my favorite part of that change, is specifically the gem windows. Let's just go all the way down to the bottom. And just put all this into the burrow. Boyers can make crossbow strings? Huh. Yeah? I don't know if I'd want them to be that granular. Although I've been a proponent for a while that I feel like beds should require cloth. Or like better beds should require cloth or something. One of the two. Like they should either make beds require cloth or make a better bed variant that requires cloth. How do you get a lot of one type of gem? Every time I mine them, I just get small amounts of various gems? Mine a lot? I'm not sure how else to put it. Just mine a ton. Lots of games do stuff like that. Or that, or like, what you could do is you could have like bed sheets as like a separate thing. And then, like, you could make it like a decorative thing where you need, speaking of, you need rough gems. That's funny. Actually, do I have rough gems? I may have rough gems. I don't currently have any cut gem jobs, so I may not actually have rough gems. But you also need a skeleton of something, so I'll just get these queued up while we're waiting in ads. I have a black bear and a horse. Okay, well, let's eat the horse and go down that stairwell that I'm currently digging until I find some gems, because there's got to be some in the stairwell, right? There's got to be some. I'd probably just have way too many, like, dig gem jobs. I mean, glass gems... Okay, so I need rough... That dwarf needs rough gems. There's some. That dwarf needs rough gems. So if they're cut, they won't count. And rough glass does not count as rough gems. Rough gems are kind of specifically gems. If that makes sense off the top of my head. Yeah, I'm never going to use a mod for stone beds. The thing that I like about beds right now is that they require wood. And I like that they require wood because that forces the player to interact with cutting down trees, which forces the player to, you know, take part in some silly mechanics already. And I like that. The part that I don't like is the part where... Or the part that I would prefer is if there was some way of improving beds aside from encrusting like the frames with gems, you know? If that makes sense. So. Well, maybe they could, Jamie, because vampires are going to be moddable once the current experimental branch works its way into the main branch. Maybe discovered vampires would use coffins as places to rest. Actually, that would be neat if, like, a vampire could use a coffin as a place to sleep, and that would, like, negate their need for meals or something, or, like, reset all their needs or something, but they have to sleep for a while. That could be neat. But only, like, discovered vampires could do that or something, because otherwise they're hiding. That could be cool. Full-on speculation, probably not going to happen, but... There you go. What are you going for? Don't mind the mud. This place got a little messy. Happens to the best of us. Most players would probably just, like, flood the room with blood. Or not blood, lava. When the vampire goes to bed, but... Or, you know, crush them with a drawbridge, or lock them in. Just never let them out and be like, ah, sucker. But they could also, like, do it in a very sneaky fashion. A vampire has been discovered in your coffin! Oh, no! Although, even better, since there's shapeshifters in Dwarf Fortress, I wonder if you could make something shapeshift into a coffin. Because if you can make something shapeshift into a coffin, you could maybe, like, just make them go to a random tomb and become an extra coffin. No, I'm not proposing a were coffin. I'm proposing a shapeshifter that becomes a piece of furniture for a bit to reset their... their needs. So, like, I mean, we have boogeymen, which can become large animals. Yeah, basically a furniture mimic. Yeah. Also, I would love Dwarf Fortress to have mimics. Is that Forgotten Beastbone? That is Forgotten Beastbone. That's cool. Well, you seem to be underway, so I'll let you go off to your thing. And then vampire go to sleep in the coffin, and that's a snack? Yeah, all right, Lua modders, get to work. It's very important. You must do. Oh, these red zircons I'm finding. So for reference, I'm trying to find the third cavern layer in the magma sea. It was a running joke yesterday that I hadn't found the third cavern layer yet, so... We is working, we doing. Oh, I should also make a drawbridge here. Let's actually make 2. Although, primarily more than the cavern layer, I'm just looking for lava. How old is this fort? Let me tell you. This dwarf was one of the starting 7, and you arrived here in 366. So it's from 366 autumn to 378 is how old this fort is. It's getting up there. Not 20 years, no. 12. Pretty hefty chunk of time. Also, George in YouTube chat, hello. Is it worth making an above-ground fort or nay? There is no difference mechanically, really, from building a below-ground fort or building an above-ground fort. They're both equally valid forts. It's just a different kind of defense you'll have to do, and different kind of threats the game will throw at you. You'll get more titans and stuff if you're on the surface. I don't fully understand the is it worth it? It's like, do you want to build above ground? Then yeah, it's worth it. I like above ground forts. I do those from time to time. They're fun. I also like below ground forts. I do those from time to time, and they're also fun. So I guess I don't fully clock the is it worth it question. Quick math, very quick math. Grade school math even. In your fortresses, that's usually past life expectancy. Yeah, I mean, this fortress would have would be doing a lot better right now if I hadn't left the caverns open for so long, and if I hadn't just like gone from above ground into the caverns. I like the way I play fortresses like this often ends up being unnecessarily dangerous for the fortress itself because I don't know, I like playing at the seat of my pants and letting dwarves die and trying to keep things interesting. So for me, it's part of the fun, you know, to just be like, well, going forward with reckless abandon kind of thing, you know? Because there's been a number of situations where I could have made this fort a lot safer, which probably would have made it a lot more successful, but then I willingly don't do that, and, you know, for the sake of entertainment, you know? Oh, no, I should have actually gone up to the middle one. So I have a question. Are you actively doing stuff on the surface in said Untamed Wilds? Because what agitates the wilderness in the Untamed Wilds is... What's canceling this? Oh, the mechanisms themselves are inaccessible. That's interesting. All right, well, we'll just have to worry about that later because the dwarves can't... Oh, I could just do this, actually. Let's see. In order to like aggravate the surface and get them to attack you, you have to be doing stuff on the surface. So if you're not building on the surface, then they won't attack you and they won't because you won't have anything to aggravate them with. Didn't above ground once, and your marks dwarves kept off the walls and drowned. Sounds like you don't know how to build walls to keep your dwarves from jumping off of them. I mean, here, mistake number one. Don't ever use bows. Unless you've modded the game so that dwarves can make arrows. Do not, under any circumstances ever, for the sake of all that is dwarfy, tell your dwarves to use bows. Because dwarves cannot make arrows. So they'll run out of ammo and then just try and melee. Because I really wish they never made them a usable item by dwarves. Because unless they make arrows makeable by dwarves. Because it just confuses people. It's so bad. So that's mistake number one. Mistake number two is like, you need to give them a roof so they can't jump over it. And you need to give them battlements. I don't know if you did that. But like something to shoot through. So either bars or fortifications. Ideally fortifications, because those are harder to topple. By that, they can't be toppled. So you need fortifications, and you need the roof. Where's the fun and safe? Well, they're complaining... okay, well, I mean, if... They're complaining that their dwarves jumped off the walls and drowned in the moat. Also, don't make a moat. Moats are dumb. They're dangerous. More dangerous to your own dwarves than the enemy, even. Anyway, speaking of bows, Thika, the bowyer, has created Desremundib, a fungi-wood bow, and offers it to the head cave of clobbering. Speaking of that, did I ever expand my prison? I don't think I did. Look at an ugly artifact. No, I did not. Probably expanded the zone, but never expanded the actual number of traps. Or ropes, I guess. But yeah, just don't ever use bows. I mean, my way to dispose of bows is to sell them or crush them with a drawbridge. But yeah, I mean, you could use them as part of like weapon traps because they'll have to reload them with arrows. But yeah, I mean, there's plenty of valid uses for bows. Most of them involve getting rid of them, but don't tell your or allow your dwarves to equip bows. Like it really bothers me that bows are an equipable item even. Because like they're just kind of a red herring for a lot of new players right now. Because unless you have like ample access to arrows, i.e. you're getting attacked by people that are constantly bringing arrows to your fort, they are legitimately just a waste of time. Okay, so that's a 5. I don't think there's red herrings in Dwarf Fortress. But if you mean like in the metaphorical sense, can they equip red herrings? I mean, isn't equipping a bow kind of the equivalent of equipping a red herring? Another one to go fight them on the surface. Forgotten Beast Icar Kupe Kabuto. Ithric has come. An enormous blob composed of grime and poop. Grime and filth. It has wings and a bloated body. Beware its webs. Where it be. Your turn. It's giant citizen Kabuto, yes. Although it's spelled K-B-U-D-O. Leaped Roars the Crazed is its name. You know, Giant Citizen Kabuto is one of those games that I'm kind of shocked that nobody has like resurrected as a weird open source project yet. I mean, maybe somebody has, but... I mean, you could equip a fish in adventure mode and whack somebody with it. Mods don't really do anything for me. Meteor in YouTube chat. Because like most of them just change the flavor of the game, but don't really change much about how the game plays mechanically. So it doesn't make the game any more or less interesting to me personally. And because I'm a guy that people tend to discover while they're discovering the game, it makes more sense for me to not play with mods. Because like, you know, they watch my tutorials and then they tune into my stream. So I like to try and keep very aware of what is vanilla and what isn't. Because it makes explaining things easier. But I don't really have anything against mods. I just don't use them, generally. Outside of occasions. Although I'm getting more and more tempted as of late. Starting to get the itch to play with some mods again. I feel like I could see myself doing like a fort or two with a bunch of mods enabled. Although, I'll be honest, I'm more interested in adventure mode mods than fortress mode mods. I beg your pardon? Urist Zalaphycod has been cursed by Burr. All right. I think we have a were creature in the fort, chat. Somebody, well, this dwarf's been tantruming. Kind of a lot. So this doesn't really surprise me that much. Chat, can I get a round of beers for the curse? They toppled this Dolomite statue of Burr. Oh boy. Not only did you topple a statue, you toppled a statue of the god in that god's temple. I think you deserve that there, dwarf. I'm gonna go report that crime. Do you have a bedroom? You do. We're gonna follow this dwarf. Yeah, this is how you get a curse in fort. Yeah, it's been a while. You don't see this happen very often because I don't often go out of there. Now he's throwing bricks everywhere. Lovely. Dude. Calm down. Please, man. Dwarf got cursed. Yes, this dwarf got cursed right here. I'll just, name you cursed. Was one of my military dwarves, too. So this dwarf's just got some severe PTSD. It's also got an infected eyelid and a lot of old injuries. Okay, your crimes have probably been reported. He needs a timeout. He needs more than a timeout, man. Well, first we're gonna convict him of his crimes. He's just gonna get a beating. Could someone do me a favor? We're currently on the 20th of Timber. When's the full moon? Twitch said press this button. Congratulations pressing that button. Oh, we already beat him. I just completely missed it. I am not even remotely picky about silly things like being perfect. I think that the ideal Embark is boring. I like Embarks that are busted in some way. I like interesting landmass, like surface levels, but I could give less of a shit about what's actually on the map itself. And also it depends on what you consider perfect, right? Perfect for me is very limited resources, but just enough to get by, and an interesting terrain type that I haven't seen in a minute. That's the perfect map for me. And as far as the overall world, I could care less. I don't want a boring world, so that I want there to be things happening, but I don't look for any particular parameters. Sometimes I like old worlds, sometimes I like younger worlds. I generally stay away from worlds that are younger than like 100 years though, because I want worlds that have something going on in them. Okay, so you're just sitting here reading a book. Oh, now you're getting beaten. Wait. Oh, pfft. The beating was too effective. So we're not going to find out what he was cursed by. Because Havoc, the captain of the guard, shows up and beats the ever-living shit out of him. And, he's now going to die of suffocation. I kind of wanted to know what you were cursed by and what you would turn into. But, oh well. Lanix, hello. You had your first major siege last night in your, 2 IRL, wait. Real life, Old Fort? How many years have you been playing this one fort in-game? I mean, honestly, I respect the ambition from the captain of the guard. It certainly helps, but I will make a statue to Eurist and put it in the temple. Ah, there you are. I just... put it in Burr's Palace? Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking. Yeah. Because honestly, he's probably earned it. Like, he's earned an eternal memory in this place. The population drops. All right, let's see if I can move my livestock down in here. Now that this has had time to grow up a little bit. Let's see, what else do we have? I've got buffaloes. I got some pigs. Let's send all of the tame rhinos down here. You turned enemies on. Oh, okay. So you've been like just slowly plucking away at this fort. I thought this was a fort that was maybe like 200 in-game years old or something. You had me like genuinely like, wow, for a second there. I mean, that's still a really long time to run a fort. Did you survive the sieges? I'm doing all right. Chris, yourself? Just trying to find some lava down here. As you do. Looks like we did. You've discovered a great magma sea. You have discovered an unusual volcanic wall studded with gems. Peculiar. 2 of them, even. Well, there's the steady walls. I'm just here to pump some lava up. Don't mind me. I'm doing this for visuals more than anything. We love gems. I've done a lot of gems in recent forts. I don't know about this one, but... You're heading into a meeting? Rough. Well, hey. It's almost the weekend, and if you happen to get weekends off, you're getting close to that. I would say it looks kind of toasty, but hey, you know. Hot, cool. Words, funny. It's like this platform. Well, I was going to do grates around the edge because I want to do some fun things down in lava in this fort. But the main priority here is I need to get lava up. So I need to figure out how many layers I need to pump it. And I need to make lava-safe stuff, which actually might mean I might just make a glass system down here because we have sand. There's lots of sources of sand. So I'm thinking about just making like some glass industry down here, down at the bottom. Let's check this. No, let's check this seasonally. Just keep seeing that job canceling, and it's like, we need to fix that. Then let's go grates. Floor grate. We survived the siege, but I built a drowning hall and a drop pit, a ballista hall, a minecart trap hall, and the enemy tunnel. And I turned off the enemies since I embarked right in the middle of a Necro, Gobbo, and Elven war zone. Oh, so now like they're aware of your existence, so now it's war, I guess. Now it's personal. Sounds fun. Hell Tavern? Did we dig? No, we didn't dig too deeply and greedily in the last fort. I mean... It depends. If I end up playing this fort if I end up playing this fort for another 2 weeks, sure. But I don't know. I don't know if I'm gonna end up playing this fort for another 2 weeks. It's just the issue with like making a Hell Tavern, I guess, is like that's a pretty long-term goal. And when you start taking on long-term goals, then the amount of time I end up playing in the fort skyrockets. So I mean, if people maintain a bunch of interest in this fort, then I'm not against the idea. But I need interest to not wane in this particular fort. So it depends on if people start asking me when I'm going to do the next new fort, I guess. That, or that might just end up being the next fort, because kind of I think the next gimmick I'm going to do is... taming is the wrong word. Catching Forgotten Beasts. Like, try and make a Forgotten Beast trap fort. Because I haven't done that really since Creature Keepers, and that's fun. So I've been thinking about doing that again. I mean, maybe I could just turn this into that, but. Oh, really? Well, I mean, I don't really have a tutorial for Advanced World Gen. I have multiple tutorials for Advanced World Gen. Chat, should I smooth this wall or no? I'm undecided right now. We've made that statue, so let's go place it. And an ad break's about to run. I will pause the game when the ads run. Oh, they're probably transporting it. Chat saying smooth it? All right, we'll smooth it. No, it's great. You've never seen a curse before? Yeah, it's what happens when somebody vandalizes a temple. Okay. I need to find a new militia commander, so I'm going to do that while we're waiting for the ads to play. Dreams of mastering a skill. This one might actually not be bad. Just let me see. Are you have any bravery issues? You do want to craft an object, but Olin, Mr. Waxworker. I'll throw you into that. You also want martial training. Dreams of raising a family. Or becomes angry. She doesn't mind a little too long. The Weaver, you'll do okay. You're stressed already. You want excitement, though. And martial training. How do you feel about Scary Thing? What does Curse do? Well, we don't know because they're dead. They got cursed because they punched a statue in the I'm also gonna toss Anon 4 in here. Curses means they're either a were creature or a vampire, and because it didn't say forced to prowl the night in search of blood, it's likely they were just a were creature. That's how were creatures are made, is when a dwarf gets really upset, they break a statue, and when they break a statue or piece of furniture in a temple, the god has a percentage chance to curse them. Yes, Neezer. The nice thing is most of these dwarves want martial training. It's the pursuit of skill mastery off-putting, but you want martial training. Okay. No. You do not know until they turn into that animal, and we convicted the dwarf of their crime, and they were beaten to death before they turned, so we have no idea what they would have turned into. It doesn't tell you until they turn. So we have no idea what they would have turned into. I did make a statue out of them, and once it gets put into a stockpile, we'll try it. And that might tell us, but I'm pretty doubtful it'll tell us. Turns out they're just dead. Man, a werecorpse would be the most anticlimactic were creature. It's like, werecorpse, like, transforms, and then it's just, it lies there for 24 hours and then stands up and goes back to its thing. Why in the world would I do something stupid like that? You want to know what's a much more efficient, safer way to train your dwarves? Is to just tell them to go punch captured enemies or just get them training. I'll tell you this. Unless somebody gives me $1,000, I will not make a minecart training gauntlet because they're not that effective and I just have no interest in intentionally injuring my own dwarves. At least not until we have, like, refillable healing potions of some sort. It's a great way to heal oneself. That would actually, yeah, no, it would. You're not wrong. So there's a price. I mean, if you want to give me $1,000, I'll also delete my save file, probably, if you ask me nicely. Everybody has a price. It's like if somebody gives me $50,000, also $50,000 to a charity of my choice, I'll cut my hair off. But you have to give me $50,000 and $50,000 to a charity of my choosing. And then I would consider cutting my hair off. Everything has a price. You got 3 pennies? No, it has to come from one individual. But no, I'm not going to make a minecart training gauntlet. And the reason I'm not going to do it is because it's not as effective as you think it is. It was effective about 15 years ago. It's actually an exaggeration. It was effective like 11 years ago? 10 years ago? 2014. But it's been a long time since then. I've already done crossbow-only runs, so I don't need you to pay me money to do that, Mudian. Which charity would I choose? Probably Doctors Without Borders, but I'd have to think about it. That is generally my charity of choice for most things, so. I mean, if you want to give me $1,000, you're more than welcome to just give me $1,000. But I've done crossbow-only runs before. There's probably a VOD vid, but I only started making big videos like the recent ones in the last, like since last summer. Like August was the first one I did. So, and I have no idea what the name of the fort would be because it's been a long time. But no, I've absolutely done forts that primarily use, oh, so this is gonna be a pain in the ass to build. That primarily use Mark's dwarves. I didn't realize there was so much interest in Mark's dwarves. Most people just yell at me and go, Mark's dwarves don't work. And I'm like, yeah, they do. What are you talking about? I use Mark's dwarves pretty consistently, though. So, like, what is it specifically you want to see with Mark's dwarves? Yeah, it's because like once a dwarf is missing a leg, they can't regrow the leg, and then the dwarf is maimed. So if you're doing things with risk of maiming your dwarves, there's no real logical reason because you just unmilitary your military inevitably. Ranger Rick, hello, it's good to see you. That would be interesting. Audra. It's nice to see you live. Nice fort designs. And cheers from Brazil. Well, hello from Canada, Marcel. All amputee military? I mean, you could just have an ineffective military. That's all that really is. Yeah, I don't know. There's certain things that like... I kind of have like a personal rule, which is if I don't like thinking about it, I don't like doing it. And it's one of the reasons like I kind of don't go out of my way to torture my dwarves generally, with the exception of I guess like my Halloween forts with the ghosts because that's just kind of fun. Like if it's a do a thing to intentionally hurt your dwarves, I'm just generally not going to do it because believe it or not, I think I just have maybe too much empathy for these poor little fuckers because I feel bad if I do it. And if I feel bad, then I don't really want to play the fort. So it just kind of is a pretty effective do not want to play device for me, I guess. So. Man, I accidentally made this like oddly effective. You know, now that you mention it, probably actually, I've never really used them for training other dwarves because like the speed of training is based on that dwarf's training, that dwarf's teacher skill. Tree Fire, by the way, thank you very much for the brand new Prime subscription. Greatly appreciate that. How deep should you start a fort? How deep do you want to start a fort? You just need you started a few days ago and the fort is like 5 to 10 years old, but I've been building on top for a few layers now and watching, I'm starting to realize you need to dig deeper. Well, you don't need to. I mean, I've built forts where I've literally never even broken ground. It's all just like theming and personal taste. Like, what do you want to do for a particular fort? Sometimes I like go out of my way to theme forts in a certain way where I have certain types of constructions. Often I don't. Like it highly depends on what you are trying to do and the vibe you're trying to portray, right? Like Dwarf Fortress is a game about telling stories, right? And the way Dwarf Fortress helps you tell stories is partially in your fortress's design. So you design the fortress and tell the story of the fortress you want to tell with the fortress that you've built. And that's part of what makes Dwarf Fortress compelling. So how deep should you dig? How deep do you want to dig? What are you trying to do? And that's kind of what it comes down to. I realize that's very philosophical and maybe not the most useful answer, but it's the one I got for you. Is there still a Forgotten Beast on the map? Probably not, because I completely forgot about it when that package arrived and then stopped following it, and it probably went and died. Let's... Looks like there is. And it seems to have killed at least one of the zombies on the surface. Actually, no. It's killed the Singed Filth. And it's also killed Glimmer Trim. And it's also killed another Death Ghoul. So it's killed several of the surface zombies. It also appears to not be moving much. Hey, I killed the intelligent undead that killed that other Forgotten Beast on my map. Question is, where are most of the undead? Slowly moving around. I guess it'll slowly clean them up. I forgot about it, Neezer, so that makes two of us. They were a hero? I mean, they were our nemesis. It's not really what I would define as a hero. just keep scrolling until I find more things that are blocked. There we go. They were a guy, yeah, on the map. That is true. That's always fun. I've dug like tunnels from the surface all the way to the lowest most levels before. Those are always fun. There was a Minotaur beating up this Ruthra outside, long story, and I ended up reading the Ruthra's personality section before seeing all of its teeth fly everywhere and said, no. The poor Ruthra. Ruthras make good pets, I bet. Oh, you don't even need to put a glass ceiling. Glass ceiling would just be for aesthetics at that point. I really like the way this little room looks. I'm just kind of tossing it together, but I think that this kind of looks awesome, actually. I think this kind of looks awesome. So now I'm going to go here, and we're just going to go furnaces. I'm going to go magma glass furnace. Ooh. Yeah, we'll just use these. I'm kind of screwing up the size of this, but that's okay. Well, actually, no, we could do. I could alternate them. Nah, I don't like the way that looks. I was kind of thinking about just putting, like, glass covers on these so we can see the lava coming through. So let's jump up to here. As you can see, we've got sand everywhere. So I'm going to go here, and I'm just going to go grates. Close-ish to the entry of here. Let's go grates like right here. Because the dwarves are constantly trampling the moss, which is what's causing the sand to appear, but it will periodically disappear underneath the moss. But if I do this and put grates on it, that'll remove that as a problem. Twitch thinks the word filth needs to be censored. Huh. Wait, hold on. What does it tell you? I wonder if that's like a weird old artifact that I have enabled. It might be, actually. That might actually be a me thinks that has to be censored. I'm not sure why. I'd have to go look at, like, my settings, but I may have something left on default. Hello, Patchwork. How is you? You know, that's something that we've been asking for as long as I can remember, Red Fogel. I completely agree. Need to go close the door to this room. It's getting a little chilly. The window's open in the other room, so. It's funny, like, 2 days ago, it was like almost summer weather, and now it's like back to early spring. Filth always reminds you of the Princess Bride. Oh, yeah, sure. No, you can say the word filth in the chat. So no, it's not me then. That's weird. I don't know. I do not know. Absolutely inconceivable. You know, I wish I liked Princess Bride more than I do. Like, it's one of those movies that, like, I feel like I should find it really, really, really funny, but I just kind of don't. It is very quotable, though. I won't deny that. Wrathing is correct. Just Using AI for auto mod. Nah, auto mod's a bit too simplistic for that. Also, I would have been told if that was the case. Twitch is generally pretty good at telling us what the hell they're doing. Looking good. All right, so collect sand. We'll just say 50. And we'll just do that monthly. Let's actually say, let's just do 100 and 100. Well, actually, I probably need more than that. Because, hold on. What layer are we on? We're on layer 91. I need 93. So, 185? No, let's just do 200. Give me some extra. And then I will do green glass gree tube and green glass cork. Let's do 90 of each. Although actually, I'm gonna be a little sneaky and say collect sand and collect sand. We're gonna do it times 2 so that I can do 2 orders of 100 sand so that they alternate. I also don't know if I have enough bags. There are empty bags right here, so there must be plenty. Although I will queue up just 10 more. Speaking of. What was I going to put there? Probably more crafting. I was certainly going to put something there. You would buy the game twice? I've already bought the game more than twice. I've gifted a few people copies of this game, plus I own it on Steam and itch, so. All right, who's my manager right now? Right, it's Hashtastrophe. There he is. Just like that, why is there so many children in that office? Whose office is that? My mayor's office is just full of children. Also, Neezer is harrowed. We might get a fell mood. Wouldn't that be fun? They do say that. Cathode, cappiest cook. Do I even have a cook? I don't have a cook. Second choice. No, I would actually like it if you made a fell artifact, because I almost never get them. They're very rare. At least in my forts. So I'm fine with that. I only have 1, so does this work? You know, Inkweaver makes you sound like a writer, although you do want to fight. Hold on, you're nervous. Okay. Kind of looks like you have no eyes. Cathode has no eyes. Oh, I see. You got caught in one of the Forgotten Beast tissue rotters. Ugh. You're one giant walking scar. He is a nervous wreck. He is generally unhindered by the thoughts of others concerning his actions. He is incredibly brave in the face of looming danger, perhaps a bit foolhardily, does not find most jokes humorous, and has a low sense of self-esteem, does not easily fall in love, rarely develops positive feelings, and isn't particularly curious about the world. Prefers that everyone lives as harmoniously as possible and acts with a narrow focus on the current activity, and is quick to form negative views about things, and is slow to anger, and has an active imagination, likes to brawl and can handle stress. I should put you back in the military. He needs alcohol to get through the working day and doesn't really care about anything anymore. Dreams of raising a family and personally believes the idea of war is utterly repellent but have peace at all costs. Sees power over others as something to strive for, sees perseverance in the face of adversity, bullheaded and foolish, and sees no value in holding back complaints and concealing emotions, and sees life as unfair and doesn't mind it that way, and doesn't care if others doesn't care if about art one way or another, and dreams of raising a family. Yeah? But people die all the time. I'd rather get a cool artifact out of the other end of it. He likes Eliminite, Billin, and Wax Opal and Gray Squirrel Leather, Battle Axes, Goats, and for their eating habits, and the words of the Tenribus Wisps, and the sound of the Tulip of Sparkling. Yes. And the sight of the meandering lyrics, and when possible, prefers to consume peach cider and bitter melons, and absolutely can't stand I right-clicked and lost what I was writing. Can't stand bats. I don't think okay, so from Papa Sweet in YouTube chat, I don't think the Dwarf Fortress guidebook information is going to be outdated. I would say don't buy the Dwarf Fortress guidebook if you want to, I know this will sound counterproductive, if you want to use it as a guidebook, buy it as a neat item to go with Dwarf Fortress, because it kind of is just a physical version of, like, very readily available information. It's a very well-made little thing. They were very kind and put a special thanks for me in it, thanking me in it, which I think is neat. It's a very well-made little book, but it's quite pricey for what it is. So it's entirely up to you at that point. I do think the information that's in it, though, is pretty straightforward and baseline and will still be relevant for quite some time. Cathode, you are going to the military. You are bonded with a bunch of my stray giant tortoises as well. So you've been training my tortoises. Just attaching. Any trainers to these? So we can keep these guys trained. Everything. A pair of Masterwork undies got lost. That's kind of funny. I'm also going to put a stockpile down here of sandbags. Someone left him in there. We have 2 rocks. Their father's son. I'm hoping Mum shows up. Okay, so now that we're making the green glass tubes, I need to figure out a route for a pump stack. Thinking kind of right here. So it needs to go to right about here, basically. So far, so good. Not bad. Okay, so I can in fact do this. Sweet. Trying to make a artifact last time I played and finally got our materials in your supply prize with an incredible llama wool thong. I'm sure you get used to it. In regards to the discomfort, it probably is part of the appeal, if you will. I'll probably also dig a tunnel down at the bottom so that they can go in and out easier. Well, YouTube chat, I will tell you the same thing I tell Twitch chat every time they talk about OCD and Dwarf Fortress. I have OCD. If you use OCD as a crutch to not do things or have a problem with things, you're going to have a lot of issues in life. Don't use your mental chemistry as an excuse for habits in things. Something that you can overcome. I build them from the bottom up, mostly out of habit. Why? Different day, same combos? Yep. Because all you're doing is, like, weakening yourself for no real logical reason. Don't do that. It's not good for you. It's like a time loop. Uh-huh. This is why I take days off, mate. You always break them? I think they're more likely to topple if you build them top down, don't they? I mean, I could be mistaken, but... You're a little bit upset cannons aren't a thing because I want to make a cannon dwarf? Cannon. There was a person working on a cannons mod for a while for version 47, but it never made its way into version 50 because version 50's code base changed enough. They were like modifying, what's it called? I want to say the way they were doing it, because they talked about it briefly on the subreddit when I saw a GIF of it, is they'd modified catapults so that they produced heat that was hot enough to ignite anything that was loaded into them, and then you'd make them, the problem was they would just burst into flame, so then you'd make them out of metal, and then they basically acted as catapults. But if you loaded, like, charcoal, or, like, lignite, or bituminous coal, it would basically fire a flaming boulder, which is pretty dope, actually. Like, that's actually really cool. But, yeah, I mean, you can make lava cannons, but are you talking about, like, hand cannons? I build my pump stacks from the bottom up because they are considered hanging incapable if you build them top down. Yeah, I don't think I've ever tried to build them top down, now that I think about it. Than a ballista reskin than you were imagining? Yeah, no, it was like, it was abusing like the game's temperature mechanics to basically cause interesting effects with lava. Let's also just do empty bags. The thing is, I don't want seed bags. I don't recall there being cannons in Zelda at all, but I also haven't played a Zelda game in a minute. Lavender Jade clusters. I'm also just kind of looking for gems. A lot of lignite. Oh, okay. So that I get the joke now. That's one of those jokes that you need to hear somebody say it out loud for that, or rather, I would need to hear somebody say it out loud for my feeble brain to be able to comprehend that level of humor. My apologies. All right, let's see if I can build that statue just yet. We're building the statue of that dwarf that got cursed. So we've now got goats, llamas, sheep, you guys. Let's go down here. Say, let's throw you. Oh, no, not zombie. Excuse me. Aesthetic purposes. Because you don't understand how they work, Giga. Because your feeble mind can't comprehend the depth of elves. And because you're imprinting your own prejudices against them. That's fine. Yeah, the elves use tree magic. They're basically like naturomancers. Like, they use tree magic to convince the trees to grow in the shape of the tools and things and items that they need. So, why are they hypocrites? They're not. You're just silly. That's all. Or it's a skill issue. It's one of the two. I think it's mostly just a skill issue. What's up, Killed with Style? How you doing? Excuse me? You've discovered an expansive cavern deep underground. Oh, did I just... Fug. Hooky. Well, that's mildly annoying. That's okay. I can make a 2-stage... pump stack, I suppose. It's gonna be a wee bit annoying, but it's fine. I'll just have to power it. Just looking at how I can do this easily. Let's do it that way. Why don't we build a construction? That'll be fun. I'll be fine. You want to know the funny reality here? Karos, is the mod has the ability to ban the person who's role-playing prejudice in my chat. And so there is no contract that we need to follow. The contract that you need to follow is please don't roleplay prejudice in my chat. That's me being deathly serious. I realize you're joking around here, but come on. I don't particularly appreciate people role-playing prejudice in my chat because it just directly leads to people being actual shitbags in my chat, and having seen that happen in real time enough times in my life, let's just be cool. Yeah? How much glass items do I produce? 4 kilns is unusual? How's that unusual? I'm trying to make enough glass to make 100 pump stack layers. You know, like, here's the reality, right? Fight elves as much as you want. Bully them as much as you want. If you want to go roleplay racism, go to 4chan. Stay out of my chat. They're a fun adversary. But when I start seeing made-up fantasy slurs, sorry. I gotta be like, guys, come on. Grow up. Lava, glass is lava proof, yes. Just looking at this going, shit, how am I actually going to do this? Because it's going to pump from here, and then it's going to go here, and then it'll set this on fire. So what I'll need to do is I will actually need to go 1 layer down here. No, I'll just need to go 1 layer up here. That's what I'll need to do. That's fine.
Have my Bezos bucks.
Thanks for the Bezos bucks.
Notification.
Appreciate you. Thank you for the kind comment about my video about a gremlin. Oops, no, I don't need this one. Viewer guy, if you're gonna go arguing the semantics of prejudice, just stop. It's not that complicated of a request that I'm making of you, okay? It's a pretty simple, straightforward request. What can tamed gremlins do other than talk? The thing you need to realize about that gremlins video, gremlins are not a useful entity. I mean, they could theoretically become your captain of the guard if they have the right, like, moods and needs, but, like, what can they do? Almost nothing of value. Like, that's a because I can, not because it's practical or because there's any actual benefit kind of deal. That's it, really. I've had several tamed gremlins in my forts in the past. My favorite one probably wasn't the one in that video. My favorite one ever was a zany, so he liked being naked. And I made him my captain of the guard, and it was great because he just ran around with a pool noodle whacking people because he was so weak because of how small they are. It would basically be like, you're under arrest and and the police officer is like the size of a large hamster. And he like punches you a couple times and you're like, ow, what the fuck was that? It's kind of about the equivalent of it. It was that was pretty fun. But like, there really is no benefit to having them in your fort. It's just a because you can. It's a I've played this game too long, bragging right kind of thing. I once had a captain of the guard that was an adventurer previously, who was an intelligent undead, but there was a bug in the game at the time where if you had an adventurer that you retired and they were sprinting when you retired them, they would just sprint for all eternity. And so when he became undead, he basically just moved at like maximum running speed at all times, and he was basically Sonic the Hedgehog. It was quite something. Oh, did I go up too high? Oh yeah, no, that is that is the top layer. I think I probably have some YouTube shorts of that somewhere. You know, viewer guy, can we just move on to a new subject instead of reiterating the thing that I asked to stop? Like, I get it, but like, can we not, could we just, could we just? I know. Same goes to Stone. The one I read was you. But same goes to Stone. Let's just move along. That's all. Is there any other way to auto-assign bedrooms and tombs? They, to each named dwarf? Dwarves will just claim bedrooms, but there's no way... Well, actually, hunters won't. Dwarves will just claim bedrooms, but there's no way to auto-assign to particular dwarves now. Because they don't know how to swim. If dwarves know how to swim, they swim just fine. The problem is most of them never learn to swim. Swimming lessons isn't part of the dwarven curriculum, I guess. Tombs get auto-assigned when a dwarf kicks it, but they're saying specifically for named. So I'm presuming they mean nicknamed. That was the question in YouTube chat. So. And, you know, it's really cute when people say things like this. So I'm just going to highlight it. Look at this. This deranged child. If you think I hate my audience, you really need to go hug somebody. If I hated my audience, I would encourage this kind of behavior. Because I would want them to say horrible things to each other on the internet. I would want them to be horrible to each other. Because then they would hate themselves more. Because I like my audience, I want to enjoy being around my audience. And I want my audience to be the best they can be. All right? I wish you had a little bit more self-awareness, my friend. Sure, when they get added to the game, and whenever they get added to the game, gigabonk. And also, if you think that I'm uncharismatic or, you know, awful to be around, do yourself and us a favor and go away. This is a problem that you have with me. That's okay. Go away. We'll all be fine. Yeah, it's a shame, Daedalus. It's a shame. I mean, like, of course I like my audience. I wouldn't have a job if I didn't have an audience. Anyway, Forgotten Beast, Stosest has come. This is a giant feathered ankylosaurid. This one's got deadly blood. It's also got 3 long hanging tails, and it belches and croaks. Its chestnut feathers are downy. Beware. It's deadly blood. This one is kind of in an annoying spot, actually. I think that one can get up to my lair. So I should probably... Chat, remind me in 2 minutes to check on the Forgotten Beasts. Actually, I should check where the other one is. Still up on the surface. How many kills it's got? Okay, it hasn't killed any of the zombies. It killed... Hold on a second. What? Chat. I think I was just talking to a zombie in the YouTube chat. Because this guy killed it. Must have been a resurrected tick demon. Why do I have socks everywhere in your fortress? Do your dwarves have cabinets in their bedrooms? There's two things that dwarves... There's two different traits that dwarves can have. One of them is like greedy, so they hoard a lot of items. And then the other one is very messy. If you have a dwarf that's messy, they'll just leave items that are theirs out everywhere regardless. So they'll just drop an item on the floor and it's up to you to deal with it. If they're greedy, they'll hoard a lot of items. And if they're greedy and they hoard a lot of items and they don't have anywhere to put their items, then they will just leave them strewn about. So, how long do I keep up a fortress? Until chat stops watching. And then I start a new one. Or I get bored. Sometimes that's 35 years, sometimes that's 15. It depends. And it varies. Sounds like you've told them to not wear clothing under their armor. And when they go off, and you've also set, or I think that's the default setting when you set it so that they, what's the word? Don't wear their armor when they're off duty. I'm pretty sure that's a default setting. That's funny. No, I'm not disagreeing. The way my brain works is I just explain why that's happening. But it is amusing, yeah. Dwarf had 20 plus crowns on their head. That's not a bug. That's just a very greedy dwarf. That's just a dwarf that's real greedy. It's no armor off duty and clothes on is default. So when you set them to off duty, if they're suddenly naked, they either A, there isn't enough clothes in their fort for them to claim. So there's, you got problems. Or B, it means you have them so that they're told to not wear armor. Or not wear clothing under their armor. Which, is fine. You can do that. It's actually technically better. Greedy, so regular dwarf? Not all dwarves are greedy. Only some dwarves are greedy. Some dwarves don't care about material goods whatsoever. Some dwarves are very materialistic. Some are like the opposite. So it depends on the dwarf. Dolomite is lava safe. So I'm afraid to announce, chat, I don't think the last used material works on these. It's a shame. Goblins came in as a dark forest and asked for a parlay, accepted, and they attacked anyways. There's several things that can make them attack anyways, and that's a bit busted. Although I have a question. Did you get the chance to find out what item they wanted for the parlay, or did they wait around for a while? Because the parlay, they're asking for a specific item of value from your fortress, which could be any artifact in your fortress. So if it happens to be a higher value, uh-oh, I kind of screwed this up. If it happens to be a higher value artifact, that a dwarf has equipped, then it's, what's the word? If it's a higher value artifact that a dwarf has equipped at the time, or a constructed item that the dwarf can't, what's the word? Unequip, or that can't be unequipped because it's like, a constructed item and it's placed somewhere, then they won't be able to get the item from you and will attack you. You need your highest ranked dwarf. So like like your mayor, your baron, your king, whoever the highest ranked dwarf is in the fort is who has to interact with the parlay. Yeah, okay. So the mayor may have gone there and like interacted with them, and then they were like, well, you took too long. And because they may have wanted a table or something. Because like that dwarf will then go collect said item and bring it for the parlay, but like I said, if the item isn't available, then you're kind of SOL there. Or yeah, if the gates were closed and the mayor couldn't get out to them, then they'll attack anyways. Also, I think war animals will just attack them, which will just trigger them anyways. There's a few things that can cause that to happen. It kind of sucks, but it is what it is. It's also kind of funny in some weird ways. Like with a lot of things in Dwarf Fortress, it's like, well, that kind of sucks, but it's also kind of funny, so it's fine. The one final thing I'll say about the person in YouTube chat, to Daedalus, who's in the YouTube chat, is I think a lot of people are just projecting. It's very it's an unfortunate reality of the internet, but a lot of people will associate an individual interaction and then project their own feelings of that person onto that interaction, presuming that that is how that person feels as well. So there are times where people will tune into my streams and hear me say something mid-stream and project their feelings of me. And there's, this is just a reality. If you do something long enough, people will decide they don't like you. And there are plenty of people out there that don't like me. So whenever I say anything that might make it seem like I'm bitter or angry or upset at somebody, they'll just immediately lash out with the, well, you hate your audience, to try and get a rise out of me. It is what it is. Iral, the Weaver, has created Tosid Daman, a bulky Rami shoe. Great, bulky. Can't do anything with that. Claims it as a Hamley Fairlimb. Well, cool. Keep it then, I guess. Place it over here. Did I not? Just... Yeah, I say Hamley Fairlimb. I don't know why. Probably the same reason I say Sword. It's Tower Cap Log. For some reason, I blanked on which one it was, but yeah, it's Tower Cap Logs. Well, I mean, the reality is, like, a lot of people will like you on the internet, but the 1 in 1,000 who despises you and wants you to die is the one that stands out, right? It's the reality. Shoo! I was the search, thinking out loud. Can't please everyone. Nope, true that. True that. Thank you for reminding me. Whoops, wrong screen. Yeah, it's just the one on the surface. I can't see all of the center cavern layers, so it is often possible that the center cavern layer is in a beast. Sir, the zombie is south. Beast name very forgotten if I keep remembering. I mean, point taken. The beast? Oh, the beast certainly ain't friendly. No, I don't even hate that person. I just wish that person would be more logical and understanding. Like, I mean, you'd have to be a pretty petty person to hate somebody for saying something mean to you. And I'm exceptionally petty in many ways. But I generally don't develop hatred towards people for being, like, a bit of a goofball. Hate is an exceptionally strong word that I think gets overused a lot. At worst, I would say it's mild annoyance. It's like, really? Grow up. That's maybe the worst it gets. I mean, yeah, to hate someone, you have to see them face to face. Well, I mean, I hate people I know through the internet who I've met in real life. Like, there's certainly people out there I hate, don't get me wrong. But hate is a bit more personal than just, you know, somebody saying that I'm dumb or accusing me of something. It's a very visceral emotion, I guess. Exasperation? Yeah, I would say I get actually, that's not a bad word. I can get mild, like, pretty exasperated with chat at times. Like, if someone is just going out of their way to get a rise and you can tell, but they haven't done anything that's, like, worthy of me bopping them. Yeah, I can get exasperated. And also, you know, this is the... Now we're getting philosophical here. One of the biggest struggles about doing this job is no matter what industry you're in, really, unless, like, you're a public figure, you can have bad days, generally, and get away with it. Like, if you work in, like, in public, like if you work in food service or something, and you're having a bad day, you might make less in tips. Like, you might make worse money that day. But it's not going to... How do I word this? You can be grumpy and your coworkers will understand, I guess. We're in an ad break, so I'll just pause. You can be grumpy and generally your coworkers will understand. Like, you can, like, explain to people that you work with, hey, like, I'm having a day. Just, like, let me get my shit done today. And you can do that in normal jobs. This job has a lot of perks. Like, a lot. But the biggest struggle for me is just the rule of law of you can't have a bad day. Because if you have a bad day, somebody will remind you of it 3 weeks down the line with a very pointed comment. Especially when you're like me and you archive basically everything you do in VOD formats. So people can, like, go back through the VODs and find the one day 3 weeks ago where I had a bad day. And use it as ammunition. It's, you know. You're so jealous of Canada? Just remember, Citizen Cake. It was easier to say this a year ago because because things were simpler then, I guess. Canada is far from perfect. Do not think of us as a utopian place. We have plenty of hate as well. Just realize that. But take care out there, man. Yeah, every country has its moments. Just let that sit for a second.
with a bow cheered. X100. Blind here is very cool and give great advice. We appreciate you for all the work and entertainment you provided for us.
I am an idiot on the internet who has been making videos on YouTube and streaming for long enough to have been fortunate enough to gain an audience. I don't necessarily give good advice and just take what I say with a grain of salt. But thank you. Why did you cancel that job, dwarves? What? You made it almost there, and then you didn't finish it. Well, thank you, viewer guy. Canada's pendulum is just in a different state is all, and there's potential for some same issues to bubble up at some point under the right conditions. Oh, you know, honestly, I think the U.S. is kind of doing us a favor right now, in some ways. I mean, not really, but it is kind of squishing a lot of that which was bubbling up. So, not to just turn this into politics hour. You know, I already have enough sinks in my apartment. I don't need to let any more in. Thanks, Red Fogel. Not our finest moment, which made you laugh, and the same thing popped up in testing history. To what, the sync part? Elon kind of ruined that meme. You watched the Prime Minister's speech and never before have I wanted to be more Canadian? Be like Canadians. I will say this. This is very much politics, so let's brace for impact. Something I genuinely think is hysterical. I don't think this is going to happen in any state. That's an accidental pun. But mathematically, if Canada were to become the 51st state of the US, it is very unlikely the Republicans would ever get elected again. Just saying. Because of how the American election system works. And because of how our population works. I find that so fucking funny. Every time it comes up, it's just like, uh-huh. Right, well... because Canada, like, realistically has two parties. Like the Liberals and the Conservatives. We do have others, but, like, they're, like, 15% of the vote, right? So they don't really... Well, outside of a landslide, it would be pretty unlikely that our other parties would get elected. But our Conservative Party is more left-leaning than the Democrats. In a lot of ways. Hey, Canada, help a brother out. Nah, help yourselves. I don't want to get like annexed in order to be able to do that. I'm good. Also, your boy here would probably, like, if we lost universal health care, I would have to stop streaming. Well, maybe not. Most likely would have to stop streaming because I wouldn't be able to afford American insulin prices. and my mortgage. So I'd either have to sell my place or stop streaming, or both. No, yeah, no, I agree. Chime, I agree. Just remember that a current American president is going to go down in history as the worst car salesman I've ever seen. Donosaurus Rex, hello. In YouTube chat. Got any engineers? Possibly. So let me keep doing this until I run out of green glass, which I just did. Engineers. I do not have any engineers. I do have an orange dwarf. What you do? I have 2 siege operators, which are an offshoot of engineers. I don't know if it's the worst, but it's certainly a pretty bad one. That was the math that I was reading it as, would be if the provinces were split. Yes, I am on Twitch and YouTube. But I read the Twitch chat because it's generally about 8 times as more active than the YouTube chat. So I do read the Twitch chat and the YouTube chat, but I primarily read the Twitch chat. If you want faster responses, Twitch is the place to be there. YouTube is kind of the lurker chat. This works for you? Alrighty. Would you like the boy one or the lady one? As I've got this lady, or I've got the boy dwarf with the beard. Methalic. I mean, there's people who watch on the YouTube stream on like their TVs and stuff, Donosaurus, and then like type in the Twitch chat. So, you know, just work whatever you will work with the best. That is your prerogative. Matholic. Cracks easily under pressure, is very quick to anger, tends to be a little tight with resources when working on projects, and tends to consider what others think of him. Is moved by art and natural beauty, and is troubled by this, since he dislikes the natural world. He often feels discouraged and thinks he's fairly important in the grand scheme of things. He lives a fast-paced life and does not often feel lustful. He could be considered rude, and he finds the rules of etiquette to be considered... Though he finds the rules of etiquette to be valuable in the abstract. He generally acts with a narrow focus on the current activity, is somewhat quarrelsome, and is conflicted by this for more than one reason. He's nervous and never allows pauses to occur in conversation when he's thinking. His body becomes very still. He needs alcohol to get through the working day and doesn't really care about anything anymore. Dreams of crafting a masterwork someday and personally views decorum as a high ideal. Is deeply offended by those that fail to maintain it. Believes that a peaceful and ordered society without deceit is best. And hates those that wield power over others. Values peace over war and sees life as unfair and doesn't mind it that way. Like Sylvite, as well as live in opal, as well as alpaca wool and pigtail fabric. And the color Midnight Blue. Battle axes, backpacks, and millstones. Scepters and flying squirrel men for their gliding. And the sight of the meandering lyrics, and when possible prefers to consume tuber beer. And hates mosquitoes. Sorry for the politics minute, chat, but you know, people are in a state these days where it's healthy to vent sometimes. So I'm not going to stop it. I mean, you used a word that I disagree with here, viewer guy, which is was. Is. Not was. Is. I do in fact have a Discord server, yeah. You can use the join code blind. It should be linked in the YouTube description. Okay, so viewer guy, you have some homework right now. It's very simple. Go learn about who you're talking about. And because I really, honestly, frankly, don't want to have this conversation, I'm going to time you out for 10 minutes. You have 10 minutes to go do your homework. I'll either see you in 10 minutes or never again. It's your choice. I don't need to explain to you why Elon Musk is a fascist. Just period. Okay. What was I doing? Right. Building a pile of pumps. Like, fucking go ask ChatGPT why Elon Musk is a fascist. That thing might even fucking tell you. Alright. I did, in fact, say homework, yes. I'm disappointed. Disappointed. Castrol, thank you very much for the 4th viewer raid. 4th viewer raid? 4th viewer raid. 4 viewer raid! I can words. Sorry, we just had a moment. Thank you very much for the raid. What's up, dude? How was Strum? What were you playing? How was thinking the stuff? It's called being educated on the people running your country is really all it is. Oh, there you go. Donosaurus. And also, hi, Bob. Nothing. Only one dwarf died? Well, that's good. Any, like, fun activities that you're going about completing in your fortress? I don't think I could... Well, well, number one, I don't have a house, so it would be hard to raid a house I don't have. Yeah, no, I mean, I could have, like, comfortably maybe 10 people in this house, tops, in this apartment. Tops. Maybe 10. Trying to get a soap empire going. There you go. Living that Fight Club life. I should check on that other beast again. Oh. The deep loyalty of snails. Where? Are you stuck? Is he stuck? Kind of looks stuck. I think, chat, he's stuck. He got himself stuck. Look at this boyo. Aw. Yeah, so you can get Lie, Larry. You got a library and you have too many pots of honey. Yep. Can't say I've been there anytime recently, but... What's up, Fragile? Move from Opera GX to Vivaldi. I'm using Libre Wolf, which has actually been quite nice. That's Tower Clap Cap Logs, not what I wanted. Yeah, food production pacing is like kind of wild still. Like the value of it's been dropped quite a bit, but like the amount of food you can produce with not a lot of ingredients is kind of crazy. This fort's in a pretty similar spot actually. If you want to collab, randomly adding somebody in their chat is maybe the worst way to do that. Send me an email. But probably not. And as far as email goes, gotta look deeper. Where can you find my email? I mean, have you never found an email through a YouTube channel before? If you go to... Now I'm actually looking, going, did YouTube, like, remove the thing? Okay, so sorry for being sarcastic. I think YouTube actually removed the, like, highlightable email slot. Well, that sucks. All right. I have a website. It's in the links section, I think. But the answer is probably not. I just use in-game music for everything. Yeah, it's in the links section of my website, which is just myusername.com. I will admit, I actually have made my email harder to find so that people stop fucking emailing me nonsense. But, you know. Yeah, just ban him then. Feel free to block him too. That's a shame. Hey, if you're a guy, if you're still watching, please gain some self-awareness. Hopefully, you're able to realize that your experiences and opinions may not match everybody's. It's a bit of a shame. A little bit of a clarity here. Bopped somebody for defending Mr. Muskie for not being a fascist, which, sorry guys, he's a fascist. And then starts DMing one of my mods. You can't do that, bud. You can't do that. You can't do that. You can't do that. You can't fucking do that. Let's sigh. Yeah, no, they've like moved it. I don't know where they moved it to. Admittedly, like YouTube has redesigned YouTube channels like maybe at least twice in the past year. Like they've moved stuff around, so that's my bad. Well, it's not fashionable. You are correct there, Strixon. Yeah. The one, I guess, benefit of talking about politics on a Twitch stream is it kind of weeds out people that are insufferable twits, but it also kind of makes you... You think he's delusional and stupid? You can be unaware of being something and still be something. But, you know. Citizen Cake, thanks for checking out a gift. Appreciate you. It's not even a debate. That's the funny thing. Like, genuinely, it's not. It's just kind of a fact of life. He's an incredibly successful snake oil salesman who sells lies to inflate the value of his own companies. That's it. Debate the value of art? Personal. I mean, I'm being generous to the person saying they don't think he's a fascist and just think he's really dumb. Oh, he's definitely dumb. Sure. Yeah. No, I get you. Sorry. I'm not gonna bop anybody else unless, like, you know, they self-report pretty loudly. This is another one of those instances. Like earlier, it's like I don't hate my audience. I just sometimes y'all disappoint me, and viewer guy just real fucking disappointed me. Damn shame that. Citizen Cake, thanks for the tier 1 subscription as well. Appreciate you. Just remember, surround yourself with smart, like-minded individuals, and your life will be much better. You missed the bopping? Well, I timed it out, and then after a timeout, they went and DM'd my mod, which is like, you don't get to do that. So, I didn't even do the bopping. I think Stone did the bopping. But anyway. Switching comments on vids? What? I don't need to think that people want my approval. But it's a fact that you need my approval to actively participate in the community that I've built. So, friend in YouTube chat. In many ways, I would say Elon is pretty fucking stupid. Dinosaurus Rex. So there's a really good clip, Corpse Man, from the old CEO of Twitch, where he's talking about bans and banning people from the platform for various reasons, where really loudly he just shouts, "Context, intent!" And I really wish I had that sound bite on tap right now for what you just said. Corpse Man. Context, intent! Go ahead, tell the my mods they're lovely. All right, what the fuck was I doing? I'm still building a big old tower. Well, I'll just let them work on that glass for a little bit. And I'm going to go up here and work on bedrooms. Your elves just brought you a lion. Hey, there you go. A giant grizzly bear? Oh, boy. Now we cooking. With grizzly steaks, I guess? I need bedrooms, so I need to figure out where to put some. I totally forgot about this little tunnel. Super duper forgot about it. So I've got this little thingy that I dug out here to get some gems. Why don't we do something like this? This could be some more bedrooms up here. I don't need actually that many because we've lost enough dwarves that the population's tanked. But what the one weird Urist who just really likes to consume bear? Honestly, the only food preferences that dwarves have that genuinely concern me is when you see one that likes to eat slugs. Which I've seen before. It's like, okay, like I get it. The French like snails a lot, right? Which is, I get it. It's just a garlic butter delivery mechanism. But like, I feel like even the French would look at that funny, you know? No, we don't like snails a lot. Okay, but like that, I'm Canadian and I ride a moose to work, okay? Like, come on, I'm allowed to stereotype just a little bit for the sake of a comment. You know, I would eat a frog leg. I would. If somebody offered me frog legs as an option on a menu in like a wings type format, I would eat that. I'm sure people eat leeches and I'm good. The funny question, though, is like, what part of the giant leech? Because that's like the part of the food preferences that Dwarf Fortress doesn't really like point out or state loudly, is that they're not specifically talking about that's the animal they like to consume. They want to consume a specific part of that animal, and they don't tell you that. I've also had snails. Like, they're fine. Like I said, it's just they just taste like garlic, like spongy garlic butter. I will say that Europe in general has some pretty amazing cheese. Even some, you know, no longer Europe country. British cheese is pretty good. And the deep South US. You know, I would like to eat, speaking of things that are popular in the South, I would like to eat crocodile. I've never had crocodile. Or gator, I guess, more specifically. Not crocodile. Well, I mean, some countries, like, I think, value eating the entirety of the animal. And if you're going to kill the animal anyways, you might as well eat the whole thing. Goose blood soup. I've had blood pudding. Which isn't a soup, I admit, but, like... Can't be that bad. Why goose specifically, though? Do you also have a reality TV show? Sorry. I've never had pig leg fat jelly. Pig leg fat jelly? It's not something that's ever come up in my diet, I'll be honest. You know, I've never specifically had Rocky Mountain oysters, but I've talked about this before. I've eaten moose testicles. I've also eaten cow tongue, yes. I had a moose testicle stew. So, we're in an ad break, so half of you won't see this. When I was younger, my parents used to take me to church. Thankfully, I don't do that anymore. But once a year, they would the church that we went to had a fundraiser that was hosted by one of the local native tribes, and they would have a all-you-can-eat buffet for a pretty hefty donation cost to the fundraiser. And we would do it every year. And it was a game and meat buffet. And so it would be everything they harvested, everything they farmed, and everything they caught. A little bit of everything, basically. And they had, you know, sausages, steaks, soups, sandwiches, various cuts of things. And it was awesome. There you go, Donosaurus. You made it. Congratulations. And it was cool. It was really cool. And so because of that, I've eaten a lot of really weird parts of moose. But I will admit, like, the moose, it was like moose, it was moose testicle and something else from the moose. Some organ stew. And shit, it's good. Good God, it's tasty. Deer antler? How would they do that? Would they, like, shave it? I don't know. I was, like, maybe 15, and so this was, like, about 15 years ago. So it's been a while. I just remember the testicles part. That kind of stuck in my brain for some reason. Not quite sure why. But yeah, that was a neat experience. I do recommend trying to do something like that if you ever get the opportunity. Pig leg jelly is not predominantly fat. Pig feet contain ungodly amounts. I've never eaten pig feet, I can tell you that. Slightly porky tasting jelly. All right. Sounds like something I would put in a soup and forget it's in there. But like if you told me to cook it, I'd just be like, well, I guess I'll put this in a soup. I'm just assigning dwarves so I know how many more I need to make. Uh-oh. I had another death. Down to 98 dwarves. Neezer, did you die? I think Neezer died somewhere. Bacon used to be a waste product? We used to feed lobster to prisoners because it was considered cheap because it just crawled up onto the shore. So, and that wasn't even that long ago. Which is kind of a funny thought. Do we have a vampire among us? No, that dwarf was extremely, extremely, extremely stressed and constantly tantruming. So either I missed a death notification or they starved to death somewhere. Their parent died in front of them, so. Oh, there we go. Found dead, dehydrated. Answers that. Rest in peace, Neezer. Aw. The baby rhino experienced trauma. Yeah, absolutely. They need to grab weapons and mass exterminate them as dwarves do, you know? Fear the carp. The carp stands up. I'm joking, but... You're writing a story about the site that you're playing on, the frozen wasteland with no trees or life, and I'm about half a year in, and wow, it makes so much... It makes so much longer to play when you write. Yeah, no, definitely. So much fun, though. I mean, it becomes Dwarf Fortress. Like, Dwarf Fortress just becomes Fantasy Mad Libs, right? Hollow Faith. That is a good name. How are you doing? Similarly to... Not good. You're haggard and you're playing with a toy axe. You saw Ratosaurus die pretty early on, which is bad. And you're reliving that trauma pretty constantly, so not good is how you're doing. That was one of the first things to appear on the Steam Workshop, so you could go download it now if you really want that. Tree Fire. I would say glory is relative, but I would say it's more absurdity. Because it's one of those things where it's like, it's funny to talk about, but it kind of did actually sort of ruin the game in a lot of ways. I don't know if you're still a brewer. Kartoch is still alive and you are still a brewer, yes. You currently want to be with family? You read a bunch of books recently? You are, in fact, a professional brewer. So just realized I got a bunch of milk. Let's make some cheese. By far the most bars per capita, with roughly 8 bars per 10,000 people. Wait, what? About it doesn't have the most bars per state in the U.S. It has the top 5. It is in the top 5. It does have by far, but the most bars per capita with roughly 8 bars per 10,000 people. In Canada, the closest competition is Newfoundland. Wait, what? I'm confused. What are we talking about, Drovin? Got taken out by some goblins in your last game? Happens to the best of us. No, I get that, but I'm not sure how Wisconsin? Wow, I can speak. Wisconsin could have the most bars in Canada. I'm confused about that a little bit. I think that they've already finished making all the tubes, so we're mostly just making corkscrews now. There's a lot. I mean, fair, I guess. Sometimes fun facts pop up, and I'm like, so sorry, I missed the context for the basis of the fun fact here, so I'm not sure where this came from. And then my brain short circuits, which just happened apparently. Oh, shit. Sure, but it doesn't change the fact that it makes my brain fall apart when I miss the beginning of the conversation. I mean, anybody can say that something is one of the biggest of a thing. Like, I can say that Canada's the biggest producer of the word sorry. But what does that mean? Although, I will say that people tend to miss... Did I just see a dwarf fall out of that? I guess not. I thought I saw a dwarf fall out of here. Anyway, I will say that Canada, or people who aren't from Canada, misunderstand the meaning of the word sorry more than anywhere else. I'm losing this. No, but, well, actually, if there wasn't a building right there, I could see it. The U.S. That's actually kind of funny because the nearest American city to me is Port Alberni. And I'm an old man, apparently, so I read the local newspaper around here. And almost every time I've read the local newspaper, there's a story in it about people in Port Alberni saying, please don't hate us. We need your tourism dollars. It's kind of sad, actually. I feel kind of bad for them. They'll stop in Canada in May for a day? That's unfortunate. That sounds like a solid way to spend a day in May. It's unfortunate you can't stay longer. Yeah, there's a Point Roberts in the middle there, too. In Washington, you pronounce bag as beg? The stereotypical Canadian accent isn't relevant in most of Canada. There's a Canadian fact for you. It's mostly a Torontonian accent, or an Eastern Canada accent. In Calgary? I mean, I wouldn't make my worst enemy go to Calgary, but I guess there's worse places you could be. Actually, that's not true. I would make my worst enemy go to Calgary because it's not like I'm making them go to Manitoba. With most generic generalizations of any accent? Yeah. I mean, we certainly have speech quirks that are common in Canada, like car and sorry. But, yeah, most Canadian accent stereotypes aren't particularly accurate. Because there's definitely Canadians that sound like they're from Minnesota, but, you know, most of us don't sound like that. Which may or may not erupt in the next 2 years. Yeah, well, I mean, I grew up being able to see Mount Baker, which never erupted, much to my dismay as a small child. Absolutely not. I am not a hockey guy. I'm actually just more specifically not a team sports guy. Yeah. I watch Formula One. I find team sports to be too anxiety-inducing. I like being able to watch a day of sport and then be like, that was fun. I enjoyed that. Can't wait for next week or 2 weeks from now. Instead of having to watch more than one thing per week and then having a 50-50 chance that I'm mad after the fact. Just, it's not my thing. And also, I think I know people who live in the UK who have said similar things as my feelings about hockey, which is it's very easy to just kind of dislike something when a lot of the people who are very fond of it are completely obnoxious to be around. So, like, as an example here, I probably would be more interested in hockey if people who were way into hockey weren't annoying about it. And I think you kind of get the same sort of thing happening with football hooligans. So. About as far away from Canada as you could be. Yeah, I mean, hey. You get to be closer to good Mexican food, though. It's one thing I am jealous about with Southern U.S. is you guys have much better Mexican food than we do have than we have up here. But you know, fun fact, my parents were close enough to Mount St. Helens erupting that they heard it. And they were in the park the day before. So, yeah. Do I like poutine? I have a question. Why is that a question that people have? It's fat on carbs with cheese. If you don't like poutine, your brain is wired backwards and you should get it fixed. The fuck's wrong with people that don't like it? How is that a question? It's also like the most American food of all time. So the fact that you guys haven't figured out how to make poutine at like an industrial scale is like bananas to me. Then get better teeth. Sheesh. Or cut them up with your scissors before you eat them. You know what's not good? Tim Hortons. It's just fucking terrible. Like, it's genuinely just bizarre to me that Americans quiz me about poutine and ask me if I like it. It's like, well, I don't go out of my way to eat it. Mostly because I'm diabetic and that shit does fucking hell to me. But like, it's like asking, do you like pie? Yeah, I like a shitty dessert once in a while. I'll take pie. No complaint there. Do you like milkshakes? Yeah, I don't really eat it. I don't really ever eat them, or drink them, I guess is what you would say for a milkshake if you're a normal human being. But like, Yeah, of course I like milkshakes. What? Igloo and sled dogs? Well, you see, we do live in the era of the internet where people have access to enough information to realize that I don't live in the Arctic and that there isn't a giant ice wall the second you hit the Canadian border. Apparently, we're now quite knowledgeable rhinoceros trainers. Ooh. Do people think this is Ice Age? I don't know, somebody probably does. Like, I guess that is one benefit, you know, of like the accessibility of information and the internet being so widely accessible is basic myths about how planet Earth works aren't as common as they once was. You know, if there was an ice wall, Earth would probably be in a better state of affairs right now. I mean, what am I talking about? Of course I'm streaming from an igloo. Cartouch the Terrible. How else do you think I don't even know where I'm going with this bit. I had the energy for this bit yesterday and now I don't. I'm not gonna lie, I find Flat Earth endlessly entertaining. But it's mostly just really sad. You know, actually, yeah, an igloo would probably be pretty good for like holding a server. like in-house server cooling would be much cheaper if I lived in an igloo. Stick it in the wall. Might get a bit drippy though. What am I currently making? I'm trying to complete like 4 projects at once, but the main one is I'm trying to get a bunch of green glass pumps to the surface, or not to the surface, but like to my defensive structure so I can have better body cleanup after sieges and also the ability to, what's the word? Better body cleanup and blank. More effectively be able to kill zombies. That's what I'm trying to do. So I'm in the process of building a pump stack, but I'm also working on my front door and also hiding from the enemies on the surface because they're evil and want to eat my brains. You got just eviscerated some poor Langer? I had a wild boar run into the room that I have that has both of my rocks in it, and they just shredded those poor rocks. Those rocks just shredded the poor things that went in there. They just died instantly. And I feel kind of bad for them, to be honest. The poor wild boars. I think Alaskan natives live in igloos. That, you know, honestly, I think you only really need to rewind about 15 years to when that stereotype was still very active, Hilary. You don't need to go that far back in time. It's basically like before YouTube. Because now, like, you know, you got people from all walks of life everywhere making videos about what their life is like. So if you want to know what life is like in insert place here, literally just go type it into YouTube and you'll find somebody vlogging. Made of paper mache. Yeah. Might be for the best. Also, YouTube channel is over 100,000 views in the last 48 hours again, which makes me very warm and fuzzy and happy. So thanks for watching the videos, guys. Appreciate you. Glad that gremlin video is doing well. It's like, it's kind of nuts. The gremlin video has more views and more likes and more comments than the Haunted Fortress video I made. And it did that in 48 hours. It's like, man, when a video just kind of takes off, it just kind of takes off. Actually, no, it has less comments. It's 15 comments behind. It'll get there in like an hour. Maybe a little more than that. 2 hours. Sure, but so do people also like Casper the Friendly Ghost, or Faint Speaker, the Unfriendly Ghost. Because that was a very unfriendly ghost, let me tell you. I'm convinced it's literally just because of Sale and Frederick's video. It's those two things. That's what is making that video do so well. So, I mean, I'll be completely honest. The Down the Rabbit Hole video about Boat Murdered is what kind of pushed me to go, all right, screw it. I feel like shit anyway this week. I'm just going to take a week off and just finish this goddamn video I've been like plucking away at for ages. Because I could see a lot of my other videos suddenly getting recommended, and I was like, well, it's time to do it. I like to think that they're all very similar levels of quality, although I think the editing gets better. But like, I do like to think that all of those videos I've made are roughly on par quality-wise. I think the funniest one was when I showed some of my family from the Philippines what an abandoned native village looked like, and they were very surprised it was made from conventional materials instead of bone and leather and snow. Yeah, it's like how people think that, like, cities... I mean, actually, you know, we're joking about this, but, like, these stereotypes still exist. It's just a bit more grim these days. It's like people thinking that Arabic countries are, you know, the 1970s cartoon equivalent of those cities when they're just modern cities. It's not too dissimilar in that regard, that stereotype, or level of stereotyping. I don't actually think I've seen his video on Eve. I should probably watch it. Because I do like Down the Rabbit Hole, but Down the Rabbit Hole is one of those channels that I forget exists until he uploads a video that's like, all right, I should watch that. Have a brown filter over them. Well, I mean, we all know that the only difference between Mexico and the US is one has kind of a orangey filter over top of it. I'm looking at you, Breaking Bad! As much as you get recommended specific topics. I mean, he only uploads like once in a blue moon, so it's not too surprising that you don't get recommended those videos too often. Because he's not uploading all that often. Oh, I did it backwards. Dolomite, glass, glass. Dolomite, glass, glass. It's Mitchell. Thank you much for the raid. What's up? How was the stream? Chat room, can I get a round of beers for Smitchell and Raiders? And mods, can I get a shout out for our friend Smitchell here? Please and thank you. I hope that this stream was good. How was the forts? If you guys don't know who Smitchell is, Smitchell streams dwarfs. So if you want more dwarfs, watch Smitchell. Plenty of people have played this on the Steam Deck. I've heard varying levels of it's fine to it's great, and I love it. I don't own a Steam Deck, though. Built a fort, crossbow theme. As in, like, crossbow-only weapon theme? Doing a new fort every day for March Madness. How many years in are you making it on average? So far, anyway. Boom boom. Be bashing together an artifact in a strange mood. And seems to have claimed a clothing shop. What do you want? Rough gems, cloth thread. And because you want rough gems, I'm already betting that's just what you need. And, leather skin. Gem shining. Blocks bricks. Gem shining. Tree life. Cloth thread. Rough color. Tree life. Okay, so you may also want wood. Oh, nope, you don't want wood. I've got wood. Then... Chat, there's an ad break about to pop. I need to take a leak. I'm just gonna run that ad right now and set this dwarf to be followed, and I will be back momentarily. All right? BRB, folks. I know that I've also seen people talking about, what's the word? Dwarf Fortress on Steam Deck and, like, user-made control configurations? Any tips on moving water without flooding or drowning your dwarves? Be very cautious about what layer you're pumping the water to and from. And if you're bringing water from above down below, if it goes through a diagonal tile, it removes all, what's the word? Pressure. So if you have a lot of water coming in, just do like a this pattern kind of thing. Because it won't overflow. However, just be very careful. Like as an example, I've got quite a lot of water coming down here. It all comes out of this aquifer here and goes down this stairwell and then down into this little creek. But it's got this wall here and these walls here, so there's no spillage, and that will prevent it from overflowing until it completely fills up this creek. However, this little creek goes all the way across the map and then up to here where it flows off the map. And because it flows off the map, using a fortification, which is this tool, if you go all the way up to the edge of the map and then make a fortification at the edge of the map by smoothing and then fortifying it, the water will flow off the map. It never actually fully fills up, so it doesn't overflow. If something were to block this, this would probably overflow. So basically just simple version is be careful and be very aware of like how much water you're putting somewhere. Water is more dangerous than lava, and I don't say that purely as a joke. I say it partially as a joke, but like it's true. Water is more dangerous than lava in Dwarf Fort because lava moves slowly and doesn't have pressure, whereas water moves quickly and fucking has tons of pressure. Because lava is safer because it moves slower, and dwarves getting caught out is what's dangerous. Well, smooth, make engraved fortifications at the edge of the map if you want to flow water off the edge of the map while in dirt. Constructing fortifications won't help. How long does it normally take to make a 1 deep lava pool evaporate? As long as it takes. I don't actually know how many ticks it takes. The wiki might tell you that information. Longer than it feels like it should. Actually is maybe the answer I can give you. Longer than it feels like it should. Into a creek of some kind? I mean, if you're moving water from one place to another, yeah, all of that would work. As long as you're not trying to... You can't move water off the edge of the map via dirt. Unless you're talking about, like, pumping it into a pre-existing river. Yeah, you could do that. That might be tricky to set up without flooding it, but you could probably do that. Not really, because there's a lot more stone layers than dirt layers. So personally, I don't think it's restricted really at all. You think it should be patched out? Well, do you want to know what was there before? Back in the day, if you went all the way up to the edge of the map like that to flood water somewhere, it would basically just fire a cannon of water at you on any layer. So you'd fortify the edge of the map and you would just get insta-flooded by a heavy aquifer. I don't think it should be patched out for the same reason. I don't think quantum stockpiling should be patched out, because it's one of those mechanics where if you don't, like, this is my take on game design in general. I think that games should be balanced around making the game more interesting, not necessarily about what makes the most logical sense. And I think that that's a mechanic that allows for a lot of really interesting things that you would lose if it was replaced by the more logical way of how that probably should work. And I don't think that that betters the game necessarily. You think players should be forced to drain water out through cavern layers? Okay, so what about the fact that water is a massive frame rate hog for a lot of people's systems? Like, I see what you're saying, but, like, what about that? Like, that's my concern, really. It's like, sure, I kind of see where you're coming from, but, like, water is, like, I think in order to do that, you would have to work on the game's performance with water quite a bit and pathing. I don't think that forcing players to play the game a certain way is a good thing. An example of this is, I used to play quite a lot of RimWorld. But RimWorld slowly added combat mechanics and changed the way the existing combat mechanics worked to the point where I didn't want to play the game anymore because the mechanics they'd put into the game made the game significantly less pleasant for me to play. Having an artificial river in your old port drops your frames down to below. Something's trying to path somewhere. That's pathing, not water. Like, a wall would do the same thing. Like, if something can't path across something, I don't think the water would be the cause of that, Lanix. At least not on my system. Maybe on your system, but I'd find that pretty surprising if that's the cause of that. But yeah, that's pretty brutal. I actually had some weird frame rate issues yesterday, which made the game slow down to about 20 FPS. And then the game crashed and it fixed itself, which is bizarre. It's possible, Lanix. If your computer's a potato, then yeah, it's really hard to pinpoint stuff like that too. Like, you only have a few layers of it. So if you are moving your mouse around in the overworld when you're settling Duo Shrike, it'll say some soil, little soil, deep soil. Deep soil, you'll get a lot of layers of soil. I'm not entirely certain what in world gen settings increases or decreases the amount of soil. Same with sand. Sand is also listed there, so you just kind of have to look at where you're going there. You know, I verbally say question mark because of text to speech. Or speech to text, rather. In my forts, it's less to do with the dwarves and more what's happening in the fort. I'm getting some frame rate issues right now, but it's got very little to do with the dwarves and everything to do with the fact that this is a 7x7 size map. Like, this is a really big map, which is what's causing the minor frame rate problems I'm having. It depends on what I'm doing in the fort, right? If everybody's primarily in one layer, everything is very close together. There's not a lot of dwarves seeing each other all the time because line of sight and dwarves being aware of each other, being around each other, can impact frame rate. So if, like, I had a fortress of about 500 it was about 450 dwarves once. But because of the way the fortress was built, I was running it like at 60 frames because everybody was very spread out. I had like 6 taverns. Everybody was always at a different end of the map. It was largely on one layer. It wasn't a massive map. In fact, it was smaller than most. So there isn't like a one-stop shop to like, well, what causes lag in an instance? It's like, well, and I know that this is always the obnoxious person response for questions like this, but it depends. And it depends on a lot of things. Just looking for gems. So I think that dwarf needs rough gems because I've got auto cut gem jobs queued up. Maybe too many of them even. Let's just nick these ones. Yeah, you're not wrong, Stone. You are, in fact, not wrong. No, you did not make it, Crane. Your dwarf died yesterday. You died during one of the various zombie incursions. What was the layer with all the coffins? So currently I'm on layer 2, 1, 0, -1. It's this. It's my tomb. It's just one layer of stairs going up and down. It's where I put all the bodies. All those that are no longer breathing. Let's see if that's what you need. Well, something popped up that you needed because you're heading there now. Yeah, I mean, depending on your system, you could end up having a laggy fort because you have one dwarf with no legs trying to equip socks. Or one dwarf with no hands trying to, carry their owned amulet home. Are you referencing my haunted video, or are you saying that you have problems with dwarves not, like, memorializing the dead? Because if you're referencing my haunted video, yeah, that's pretty rough. All of my forts go up on the VOD channel on YouTube. Yes. I want to say part 1's up. I haven't started uploading part 2 because it's been a busy week and I was editing, like, or at least the first few parts should be up by now. Parts of it are already up. Not 100%, but I'd say about 98% of streams go up on the VOD channel. Cistern, you have lost so many forts. This was amazing. Thank you very much. I literally just locked the front door. Like, if you're having trouble getting projects done, just do what I do. Just accept that you're not going to get migrants for a while and lock the door. That's all I've done. Yeah. There's been a few exceptions where streams haven't made it to the VOD channel, but vast majority of stuff does. And the stuff that doesn't is there. It's just unlisted or privated. Happy to help, Pasta. I'm just, honestly, I'm a little bit amazed that people watch the VOD channel as much as they do. It's like the one part of the stuff that I do in this job that I'm like, really? Wow, okay. Because like the VOD channel has its own little community of its own, which is cool to see. Yeah, no, I mean, the VODs have their place, for sure. You keep getting the most barren caverns. There's a lot of luck involved, dude. There's a lot of luck involved with getting cavern layers. The reason I decided to make this into a cavern fort was because it was a neat cavern, so... Entirely one-wide cavern tunnels. That is the default setting, yeah. Well, that's a little bit abnormal even for the default setting, but the default settings are pretty tight caverns, yeah. I much prefer the more wide open caverns, but wide open spaces are worse on frames for older computers because of the aforementioned line of sight code. Granted, line of sight code has been optimized quite a bit. It's also, when you enable multi-threading, line of sight code is the only thing that's multi-threaded. Large open spaces are worse for frames in almost all cases. Also, you guys want to see a life hack? Let me show you a life hack. So I'm very short on sand, right? Don't have a lot of sand. If I go up here and I just make a bunch of normal glass furnaces, and then forbid all of the glass making jobs and just allow sand jobs, I can just, these guys here will just run back and forth and speed up the work down below. I think the only issue that I have with the VODs existing, Merlin, is that there are some people who refuse to watch my streams because they're like, I'm behind and I'm trying to catch up. And I'm like, good luck. I'll see you never. Sand jobs sound terrifying. Yeah, I don't want to think about that one too much more. Welcome back, Donosaurus. Yeah, water is one of the harder things to wrap your head around. Wub's name in YouTube chat. I mean, it's coarse and it gets everywhere, you know? God, I'm ecstatic. I'm so happy people are watching that Gremlin video and liking it. Speaking of streams, next week we'll do a 5-day stream week. My parents are coming to visit this weekend, so I'm going to be busy Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So, it's my mom's birthday, and my mom is a teacher, so, and it's spring break up here, so my mom has the week off, and my mom's birthday was very recently. Boom Boom's begun the mysterious constriction. What is you making? So, today is the last stream of the week, just a heads up. What's up, Django? You've seen 3D compiling where memory isn't organized with cache boundaries. I have a question. Have you reached out to, I have no idea what you're talking about, so I'm not going to fully read your message. Don't take offense. Have you talked to Putnam? Because Putnam is like literally the optimization and rewrite person for Dwarf these days, it seems. Because Putnam, in my experience, reading my YouTube comments when like those topics come up, Putnam usually either has a "we're working on it" or "we've looked at it and it won't work for reason," or like "interesting, we'll look into it." So like I just talked to Putnam. If you've seen something through decompiling, like it's possible you're not the only person who's seen it and there might be a reason why it's not being utilized, or alternatively, it's something that could actually be implemented. Putnam is she, just FYI. Yeah, that is what happened. So we got funky wood logs, dolomite, rectangular sardonyx, point cut green tourmalines, blue peafowl leather, rough red tourmalines, plumbable cloth, and tower cap logs. You have to do a more formal write-up? I mean, this button exists because I yelled at Tarn. So I don't know if you necessarily need to do a formal write-up. But fair enough. What RPG you playing? The use most recent button. Well, to be specific, Tarn specifically asked me. He's like, "Can you please tell me some pain points, things that people complain about in your chat, or things that you are annoyed by that I could fix relatively quickly?" And that was something I asked for. Zalvi, what Dwarf wanteth you? Yes. The sequel to Zalvi. The first, of course. I am many things. A saint I am not, but I am a good complainer, I guess. It's a swords and sorcery themed RPG using 2d6 and designed to be solo first. There you go, neat. Boom Boom, the astronomer, has created Wom's Harbab, a sleek llama wool turban, and offers it to the head cave of clobbering. That is quite the name for a thing. Does it have a... Oh, it doesn't have a sprite. That's a shame. That is a shame. It can go right next to the other artifact that doesn't have a sprite. Sure. I don't think I have any cooks. Yeah, I don't have any cooks. I have a slightly unhappy clother. But moods are improving pretty rapidly, so... As you can see, we have lots of food, so I've basically disabled all cooking for quite some time, so a lot of jobs just move on. Wait, hold on a second here. So this dwarf is actually in the militia as a Marks dwarf. Are you okay with being a Marks dwarf, Zalvi? Zalvi II worships the god of death, has one close friend who's a stonecrafter, and never feels hatred towards anyone or anything. Does not feel the slightest need to pay back favors that are done for him, no matter how major the help or how much he needed it. He is a nervous wreck, and he has little time for forgiveness and will generally seek retributions for his past wrongs. He does not go out of his way to he does not trust others and does not often feel lustful. Generally acts impartially, is rarely moved to mercy, and doesn't seek out excitement. Doesn't try to get things done perfectly, has a noticeable lack of perseverance, doesn't mind wearing something special now and again, and thinks that he is fairly important in the grand scheme of things. And he tends to interrupt. Tends to interrupt? Huh. I found a rare grammatical error in Dwarfort. He tends to interrupt others during conversations when he's trying to remember something. Huh. Okay. Sentence tends to interrupt Blind's thought process because it has an S in a spot that makes no sense. You're already in 100 Discord servers? One of the best decisions I made a couple years ago was to leave every Discord server I don't actively use. Interrupting Dwarf. Interrupting Dwarf who? Pig, my dear? I'm waiting for your punchline. Very important. Proxa, thanks for the 5th month of the Prime. Appreciate you. Chat, we are a crowdfunded channel here. I don't take any financial sponsorships from corporate entities, so thank you very much for that Prime sub. I guess that's kind of a corporate... Anyway. Semantics. Thank you very much for helping me keep things functional. Why is ketchup illegal in my server? It's an in-joke. Don't worry about it. That's all. Please don't go spamming pictures of ketchup, though, because it will get you an ironic kick, probably. Where was I? Doesn't care about anything anymore. Dreams of crafting a great work of art, and this dream was realized. Personally thinks the entire concept of sacrifice for others is truly disgusting. Thinks friendship is important and doesn't really value merrymaking, and dreams of creating a great work of art. And this dream was realized. He likes tin glaze, bismuth bronze, and fire agate, as well as clear glass, knuckleworm leather, and brown recluse spider silk, linen paper, and the color golden yellow. Scepters, in the words of the crested wall, and the sight of the meandering lyrics, and when possible prefers to consume hamster and yak cheese, perry, and bitter oranges. Saint Video, thank you very much for the Prime subscription. It's a fun name to say, Saint Video. Saint Video sounds like a solo performing artist.